transfers, get cash to consolidate all your debt, and get a fresh start for the new year. Call Loan Pronto now and see how much you qualify for. Imagine this time next week, you could be credit card debt-free. Call 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Digging out from under a giant gift list? Kill two birds with one stone at the Dugout Tavern and Grill. First, grab a much-needed break from holiday prep at the #1 sports bar in Apex. Second, get Dugout gift cards for everyone on your list. For every $50 card you buy, you get a bonus $10 gift card. Think teachers, babysitters, pet sitters, Secret Santa gifts. Dugout Tavern and Grill can also host your holiday party or cater it and come to you. Find us on Kelly Road in Apex, thedugouttavern.com.
Adam Gold in studio with my friend Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Are you coming here because you're going to put my Christmas tree up?
I wish. No, I'm coming here just to say happy holidays to all of our customers, and thank you so much for this business for this year. We've done great, and it's been a great year, and just want to say thank you to all the folks out there that have done business with us this year.
Has it been a more difficult year? Has the weather been unusually bad? Is Santa going to be mad?
I don't think so. I think we've had a great year. Again, that's just a testament to our customers. They're loyal. We have a lot of customers, and we're just here to say thank you.
Santa's going to land on a lot of new roofs that you guys have put up.
And we can repair them. That's the perfect part of that.
Who else do you want to give a Merry Christmas wish to?
Our customers and our employees as well. Everybody in the office that makes it happen. Sammy, who makes it happen for us every day. So
I'm sure he gets all the Christmas wishes. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, aluminumcompany.com online. Free no obligation estimate there. Patrick Days.
It's truck season at John Heister Chevrolet, and if you've been waiting for the right deal on a Chevrolet Tahoe High Country, we've got it for you right now. Get yourself a big, beautiful 24 Chevy Tahoe High Country for up to $13,000 off. This incredible deal is for customers with a Costco membership who currently own a 2010 or newer Chevrolet passenger car or truck, or currently leasing a 2019 or newer Chevy passenger car or truck. See dealer for details. Get off your keister and get to John Heister Chevrolet in Fuquay Arena. Together, let's drive.
Is your home ready for the holidays? Beat the holiday rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. Pay $40 per room of carpet cleaned and take 25% off your air duct cleaning. Book online anytime at ZeroResRaleigh.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
They score!
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
This is from 56 yards away. For a chance for the ACC championship, the kick is up, it is on its way, and it is good! 56-yard field goal! Clemson got a second chance at the college football playoff, and they have earned their way in. The ACC champions. What a scene here in Charlotte. Clemson has knocked off number 8 SMU, 34-31.
The Adam Gold Show here on a Monday. What's going on, everybody? I'm Tim Donnelly, sitting in for Adam Gold, obviously. Not AG, but Victoria Vodenecker is here, as always, producing the show.
Yes, we made it through the weekend.
We did. You didn't make it through. You thrived. It's not like a survival thing.
I know, but it just disappeared so fast.
Felt like it. Yeah. As far as sports go, you just heard the highlight of Clemson winning the ACC championship. It's starting to become now. Let me preface all of this because I understand that some of you across the state may not recognize some of the things that I believe. So I'll just put this. I like conspiracy theories. I think they're fun. I think they're a good talking point. You and your buddies get together over a couple drinks. You can talk about all kinds of stuff. But usually there's a logical answer for most things. Usually, if something is crazy and out there and wild and you need to put a tinfoil hat on, it's not true. But if I were somebody that believed sports could be rigged, if I were somebody who could put the tinfoil hat on and maybe believe that people are pulling strings behind the scenes to make sure things happen a certain way, This weekend would be one that makes me think like, all right, who decided on that?
Mm-hmm.
Clemson winning in overtime against SMU, which all but, to me, guaranteed that the ACC would get 2 teams in the college football playoff, when if SMU won or if Clemson won by, I'd say, more than 2 scores, the ACC would only get 1 team in the college football playoff, and it was the ACC championship, and it worked out perfectly for the ACC. I don't believe it was staged, but if it was, they wrote the right script.
Yeah.
And then similarly, the last 3 weeks of Panthers football, meaning the Carolina Panthers.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's scripted, but if it were to be scripted, it would make a lot of sense. Where you play hard, you try to win the game, you stay in it with teams that are either division rivals or amongst the best in the NFL. You show that your young guys are developing. You let Bryce have a good day. You give Bryce the ball at the end. He does absolutely everything possible to win the game, but you find a way to lose it anyway.
I see.
Thus protecting your top 5 draft pick.
Exactly. So basically like tanking gracefully,
Like
quote.
basically, and I'm going to give somebody the all-time out here. This is the all-time escape door. Hey, Xavier.
Oh.
If it's out there and it's on the money, just don't catch it.
Yeah.
Why? Well, listen, because if we win this game, we beat Philly, we're going to fall out of the top 5 in the draft, and then we're not going to get one of the maybe the best tackle in the draft, or maybe I'm talking defensive, maybe the best edge rusher, maybe the best wide receiver, maybe the best. There's things we need, and we can't be winning games, but we still want everybody to be excited about our improvement. Panthers are threading that needle perfectly. If I believed that somebody would say that type of thing to a player, the last 3 games are pretty good observations, right? Like, let Baker go down the field in 30 seconds and score.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go down. Let's give the ball to Patrick Mahomes, and he needs to find. It's like, that sounds like things where you gave him the old code red. But that doesn't take away the good, right? And the reason why I bring that up, the reason why I bring up the kind of scripted nature is, about a month ago, I did say the ideal, the number one thing for Panthers moving forward is if you kept building confidence in Bryce Young and he kept showing you that he could be the guy next year, and your young guys kept continuing to develop, and you lose those games.
Yeah.
Because you do need, like, the Panthers need difference makers.
We do.
They don't have many.
Mm-mm.
And you rarely, not saying it's impossible, but you rarely find them, in the 3rd round. You can, and I know everyone has their go-to. What are you talking about? You can't find them in the 3rd round. What about Puka Nacua in the 5th? It's like, yeah, it's possible, but there are percentages out there. Like the amount of All-Pros and Hall of Famers drafted in the top 5 picks is significantly more than the amount of Hall of Famers and All-Pros drafted like from pick 10 to 15. And that's not saying it's impossible, not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just playing the odds here. Panthers need to play the odds. But that doesn't take away from the good. Bryce Young took steps forward again. Stats not overwhelming. And I actually think a certain subsection of Panthers fans need to slow their roll a little bit.
In which direction?
I think they're letting the cart get in front of the horse a little bit with Bryce hype.
Yeah.
Bryce is playing much better than he was.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to anything we've seen from Bryce, he's playing well.
Mm-hmm.
Compared to like other quarterbacks in the NFL, it's still not above average.
Sure.
19 of 34 for 191 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and the interception was a bad one. Like that's not great.
Mm-mm.
So slow the roll a little bit on the hype train for Bryce Young, but understand that steps in the right direction are more important. Right? Don't go. I'm seeing some like comparisons, like, oh, would you trade him for this guy, or maybe C.J. Stroud, and I'm going like,
let's not.
Easy, easy. I get you're excited, I get you're happy, be excited, but just focus on you. Here's the 2 steps forward that I think Bryce made yet again this weekend. Not strides, he didn't jump, but just steps forward. For all of the struggles Bryce Young has had in his short Panthers career, Okay, all of last year and the beginning of this season. For all of the struggles he's had, there's one thing you cannot say about Bryce. You cannot say he doesn't enjoy and thrive when the chips are down. At the end of games, when it's a close game, when it's a one-possession game and there's a couple minutes on the clock and you have however many timeouts and you need to go down the field and score, that's when he has played his best ball. Going back to last year, he had 2 wins last year. Both game-winning drives ending in field goals as the clock expired. Executing it well. Game management, doing everything you're looking for. If he finds himself in close games with the clock winding down, he usually finds himself playing well, which is valuable. The issue has been sometimes the first, all but the last 2 minutes, he gets himself down 30, and then it doesn't matter if you're clutch. But this past weekend, he did it again. He threw the pass that should have won the game. Which, by the way, that play was outlandish in a bunch of different ways. Philly brought 6 on the blitz. The offensive line and running backs picked it up, gave him time, stepped up. Xavier Legette's route, if you watch even the television copy, he gives him a little shimmy at the top of the route. Dirties his dude. Routes. And that's one of the things Xavier Legette doesn't do extremely well. When he was at South Carolina, he was not a route technician. He was not out there giving him the old He was more of I'm bigger, taller, faster, stronger than you. Just put it up there somewhere and I'll go get it. So he routes up his guy wide open. Bryce Young recognizes it. The offensive line and the running back picks up a blitz, steps up, puts the ball out there. I wouldn't say perfect pass, but catchable. He gets his hands on it. He doesn't make the catch. That's not on Bryce. That's another drive at the end of a game that Bryce did enough to win. Just like he did walking off the field against Tampa and walking off the field against Kansas City. They either had the lead or tied it up. He did enough to win the game. Dave Canales, the head coach after the game, talked about his message to Xavier Legette after the drop.
Just we're counting on him, just go right to it and just let him know you're a huge part of what we're doing here, and playing the X position, it's you get targets, and you get a lot of opportunities over there, and so just making the most of those, but full confidence in Xavier to continue to just take steps, and these are all things that we take and we learn and we grow, and I truly believe we'll be in high stakes games someday playing against great players, great teams, and we're going to have to make those plays, to become the team we want to become.
Bryce Young did his thing. Xavier Legette needs to do his. The other thing that Bryce showed me, the small step in the right direction, he's showing his open field running ability. Did anyone notice the legitimate wiggle and swag when he was running this weekend?
Oh, yeah.
The stanky leg, hesitation, hop down there on the goal line.
Right. Oh, that was good.
You only do that when you're in your own bag. When you are filling it. Yeah, exactly. When you are filling yourself is when you throw the stanky leg hizzy. Like he's Devin Hester, except he's Bryce Young on the goal line. And then he got popped pretty good and he stood up laughing.
He did.
But he is a guy. I'm not expecting him to run for 70 yards a game. Or 3 touchdowns like Josh Allen, but he can pick up first for you. He on 3rd and 4, if you play man and you're running with receivers and he sees green grass, he can get the first down and get out of bounds and maybe make a guy miss and turn it into a 12-yard gain. Those positive steps are good. Eventually, he's going to start turning those positive steps into legitimate big-time performances. We need like a 20 completions on 27 attempts for 300-plus yards and 3 touchdowns. Haven't gotten one of those yet. But eventually, if you keep making steps in the right direction, you got to trust the process that they'll pop out at some point. So don't you love what I did there to start the Adam Gold show? I go, everybody slow your roll with Bryce Young. And then I just give you like 9 positive things that he did in the game.
I like it.
As he stared the Eagles' rushing attack down and almost came away with the win.
I know, it was close.
Just need a little bit of help.
See,
little bit of help.
That spread, I talked about this on Friday.
13?
Yeah, it was like 13. And I thought, you know what? That's a little shady. So maybe somebody out there.
Did you guys on this show talk about the $3.1 million bet?
No.
Someone in Kentucky, it's the largest, like the reports say, it's the largest reported bet on any individual NFL game. Somebody bet over $3 million on the Eagles to win outright. It was, I think, $3.1 million to win about $500,000.
Wow.
And they just bet straight up on the Eagles to win. I wish
yes,
we could have had a video live stream of them as the ball was in the air to Xavier Legette, knowing if this ball is caught, you just lost over $3 million.
Exactly. And I thought you were going to say, I wish I had that kind of money to bet with. Because that
was my third. Even if I had that kind of money,
I would
chance.
never do that.
Especially not a Panthers game. I'm like, as soon as I bet $3 million, they'll lose.
No.
They're going to turn into the 1985 Bears.
Yeah, exactly. For one day.
Yeah, just
Cinderella.
That's how it works. The Adam Gold Show and Tim Donnelly here sitting in for Adam Gold today. I'm going to because we have to. When Adam's not here, we have to carry the torch. Let's talk Canes, shall we?
Let's do it.
Carolina Hurricanes are in a skid.
Yeah. It's not great.
Here's the question. Who and or what is going to knock them out of it? Now, I'm going to be upfront with you all, right? You all are used to listening to this show with Adam Gold, and he hosts the pregame show, the postgame show. He's got, like, the newsmakers, the important people in his speed dial. I do not pretend you got to know what you don't know. I do not pretend to know all the ins and outs of the Carolina Hurricanes like Adam Gold does. Matter of fact, a lot of times when I have a question, I'll go to Adam. But one thing I do know is locker room dynamics, right? And I played college football. I know how athletes think in a lot of ways. I run in a lot of circles with athletes, and I overanalyze things athletes do. And I know that there has to be an inciting moment. There has to be a catalyst. Someone needs to do something, or something needs to happen to knock the Canes out of their recent kind of trance. And you may be like, trance? Are they really in that? Like, is it that much of a schneid that they've... 12 days ago, the Canes were 16-5-1. Didn't look like anything could stop them. They had faced little adversities. They were right at the top of the Metropolitan Division. They had just beaten the New York Rangers with their third-string goalie. 2-0 since Seth Jarvis had returned from his injury, and Jarvis had scored in both games since his return from the IR. It seemed like there were things you could throw in their path, but they weren't going to let it stop them. They were the locomotive going 700 miles down the tracks. Fast forward 12 days to today, they've lost 4 of their last 5, including losses to the Kraken and the Islanders, right? Even if you write off the Panthers' losses as third-string goalie against a good team, Kraken and Islanders shouldn't be that way. They're 17-9-1. I'd say comfortably in third in the division. Pyotr Kochetkov has not been awesome since his return from injury. Natchez is still bananas. Svech has woken up from a production standpoint. There are some good things, but the team is reeling. So what that does is it puts us in this little pickle, this predicament of through the first 25 games, the first quarter of the season, we know the talent is there. We know you're good enough. We've seen you go on streaks. We've seen you win a bunch of games. We've seen you play through adversity. We also know that every team in the NHL will go through ups and downs. Every team's going to have a slump. Every team's going to have a road trip that puts a pebble in their shoe. Every team's going to have it. But part of being a great team is shortening your down streaks, where another team might get caught up in the snowball effect, and a 4 or 5 game bad streak turns into a 10 game bad streak. The great teams are able to snap themselves out of it. Now, I say there needs to be something or someone. This is the hard part. If something knocks you out of your bad streak, that's fine, right? You don't root for this, but if another team has a dirty hit on one of your best players and everybody rallies and everybody fights, and then suddenly you oh, look at this, everything has changed. If somebody calls your team a bunch of jerks,
yes.
And then suddenly it's like, oh, look at this, we now have a rallying cry.
And we have T-shirts.
And then everything, if they put a kid on the Jumbotron and he's got a stuffed animal and then you score 3 goals, the kid on the Jumbotron now becomes the rallying cry. It's just a weird thing about locker rooms and professional sports and team sports in general, where those little things can kind of change the pH balance in the room. The issue with that is if you're waiting for something, you could be waiting a while. right? There's no guarantee that any of those outside your control elements are going to break your way. There's no guarantee that a national media person is going to insult you. There's no guarantee that that dirty hit is coming, that you can rally behind your guy. There's no guarantee. The other one is someone can do something. Which player can snap him out of it? Through all of my experience in sports, and I played for a long time. I've covered it now for a long time. I've been a fan for my entire life. I come from a sports family. And all of my experience, one of the undoubtedly most important traits and also rare traits in a team sport athlete is the ability to snap teams out of it at will. And it's only the greatest of the greats, right? It's the
Cam Newton was great at that.
I'm trying to think of the example. I was just recently listening to a podcast with Udonis Haslem and the Heat when they were LeBron and all them. And they had a day where, like, the bus broke down or something, and they showed up to the arena like 40 minutes before the game.
Yeah.
And they were already not playing well, and everyone's out of routine, and athletes are wildly into routine. Like, I didn't get my 300 warm-up shots in. I didn't get to stretch for 25 minutes. Like, everybody was off, and they were in the tunnel. And LeBron just looked at him and said, "Don't worry, I got this." And I know people get, the LeBron stuff. People don't like all the myths, but he went out there, had like 40, 20, and 10, and they won the game. And Udonis Haslem was like, he just wasn't going to let us have an off day that day. That is the rarest thing in sports.
Yeah.
And you hear the stories of the greats that are able to do that. They're just like, no, we've lost 4. We've lost 4 of our last 5. I'm going to do something. And then they like go out and knock someone's head off in the first 30 seconds. Or they, Svetch puts like a lacrosse goal, right? The Svetch and it's like now everyone has changed. Everyone in that room has been risen to a higher place. It's rare. It's hard to predict. I don't think when you interview someone before the draft, you're like, oh, that's one of those dudes. I don't think it's easy to see. But when it happens and when you know someone has it, it's the coolest thing in sports. You hope it's Aho. You hope. Because he's the face of the franchise. I think Jarvis's personality opens him up to it a little bit.
Yeah.
Where he does something and he comes out smiling and everybody is suddenly like, we haven't lost 4 of our last 5. We're on fire right now.
Martinook's got to be huge for that.
Martinook is a good option. Obviously, like, Natchez has the ability, but the thing is, he's actually still playing well in this recent skid. He's still getting a point, at least a point a night. So maybe it's not him. Goalies always have the opportunity. If goalies face 25 shots in the first period and give up no goals, everybody has changed.
Yep.
But someone has to do it. You could get lucky and one of those outside forces can do it for you. But when you're in a skid, someone has to do it. I played quarterback and you always knew which wide receivers had the chance. And you're like, all right, we've gone 3 and out for 2 straight drives. I'm going to give so-and-so a chance to bring us out. And you throw a 50-50 ball or you lay out a deep ball and see if he comes down with it. Who on the Canes wants to be that? And by the way, once you figure it out, it's lovely. Because then if it happens again, you're like, hey, you're our guy.
Yeah.
Go make something happen. And they don't feel like you're putting all the pressure on them because they're that person. They love it.
Yeah. Coach Chekhov's done that when he tried to fight people. That was fantastic. But we have to reel him in a little bit. Like,
but also you need someone to do something that is fight worthy.
Yeah.
Like it just looks weird if Coach Chekhov's just
dropping gloves
flying
for no
up the
reason.
ice because he didn't like the way someone looked at him. Like there needs to be the opportunity for it. And that's if you're waiting for that, you could be waiting a long time.
Yeah.
Like Coach Chekhov could ignite the team in one of 2 ways. He'd go fight somebody, but you got to wait for a fighting opportunity.
Right.
Or he could stop 35 straight shots.
Yes.
And then everything else changes in the same way. So, I lean towards option B, but if option A presents itself,
we'll take it.
Maybe don't actually get in the fight, but make them hold you back.
Right.
You're too valuable right now.
Right. Maybe Rempe or something.
Ooh.
They're bringing him back, so there you go.
Light him up. Yeah. The Adam Gold Show here. Before we move on, there's so much to get to. I want to hit on the College Football Playoff Committee. Getting it right? The 12 teams, they got it right? Do I sound crazy? Do I sound like, for those of you that listen to my show or I've heard it when I fill in here on the Adam Gold Show, I don't feel like myself.
Yeah.
The
right.
NCAA playoff committee got it right. The college football playoff committee put the right 12 teams in, and the ACC got 2, and Alabama didn't make it as a 3-loss team. And for the most part, the rankings are all right.
It's crazy.
What?
I know.
Ward Manuel, who's been the spokesperson for the committee, was asked, why did you choose SMU over Alabama for that last spot? Here's his explanation.
From our standpoint, as we evaluated what they had done throughout the season, we had an extra data point when we were able to watch the game last night. A great game with SMU and Clemson coming down to the final kick. SMU going into that game was undefeated in their conference play. And obviously we know Alabama, great wins against top opponents. I think 3 top 25 wins. They also had 2 losses to unranked teams. We took a look at and compared their resumes for the resume that Alabama put together. We just, as a committee, as we talked about it and then voted it, it turned out that the committee felt that SMU was one ahead of Alabama.
First of all, that's the correct answer. We looked at what they did, and we decided this team was better. And it's crazy that that's news almost. We looked at what they've done, and we decided which one is done better this year.
Just feels like common sense.
It's not, we mythically put them in a matchup, and we decided that if Alabama played SMU, Alabama would be favored, and thus Alabama has more NFL talent. No. There's really, I think they make it more complicated than they have to with all of the conversations and all of the data points. Just look at the games they played. SMU has played better games. If that's crazy, you're crazy.
No, you're crazy.
The one thing I will say, and this isn't the committee's fault, it's whoever made the bracket, I do think they have to fix the structure where the top 4 conference champions get the bye, because I think it's kind of messed up that Oregon's first game is going to be Ohio State or Tennessee, and a team like Penn State, who Oregon just beat, gets to play SMU, who's less scary, and then Boise State, who's less scary, even though Oregon is the team that is the number 1 seed and won their conference and should be rewarded. So there's some structure things that need to change, but within this structure, they got it right. So I'm just going to go ahead and stay positive today on a Monday and say good on you.
With this gray weather, we're going to keep it positive.
As far as Clemson goes, just for the ACC, I think Clemson's path is kind of nice. Texas is not unbeatable. I think they're very talented. I don't know if Quinn Ewers has the it factor thing that you want from your quarterback. I think they're a little banged up. Clemson, Texas, I would not put my jaw on the floor if Clemson can win that one. And then Arizona State gets the winner of that game gets Arizona State. And I don't care about Skedaboo, the running back. That would be a lovely matchup for Clemson to work their way into the semifinals. So Clemson might be the big winner of this all. They are the last seed in the entire deal, but as a conference champion, they got the automatic bid, and then they got a nice little draw. That Dabo. Everything always good happens to Dabo.
For Dabo.
The Adam Gold Show here on a Monday. I'm Tim Donnelly sitting in for Adam. We still don't have a head coach yet. I'll double check during the break for the UNC football team, which means technically it still might be Bill Belichick. That's coming up next. Stick around.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Football is on the menu tonight.
Showtime, prime time.
And we're dishing up a clash of conferences.
Hot dog, man.
It's Cincinnati and Dallas.
Dominate on 3, 1, 2, 3, dominate.
Pregame starts at 7:30. Kickoff at 8:15.
Put up or shut up time.
The NFL on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wake Med.
Here we go.
99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Monday night, you gotta feel it.
Did you know that Bailey's Fine Jewelry has something for everybody and every budget? Sure, we're known for luxury designers, fine diamonds, and watches, but we also have a huge selection of jewelry and gifts under $500. We're celebrating making holiday gifting easy since 1948. You can shop online at baileybox.com, or we invite you to visit one of our locations in Raleigh, Cary, Rocky Mount, and Greenville to see why every woman wants a Bailey box under the tree.
Ho, ho, how about this for holiday plans? Head to Raleigh Beer Garden, home of 3 Guinness Book of World Records, including over 380 drafts on tap. That'll jingle your bell. Plan your Holly Jolly meetup at Raleigh Beer Garden for great food and drink specials. And starting December 20th, play Hop Shots Mini Golf in our climate-controlled tent. Raleigh Beer Garden, open daily from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. and hosting the Triangle's best party on New Year's Eve. Follow us to see all our specials and events at RaleighBeerGarden.com.
Welcome to the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club Aromatherapy Room. Our first scent is the essence of this month's scratch-offs.
I'm getting notes of anticipation mingled with cold hard cash.
Anyone else? Oh, is that tilapia?
Sorry, that's my lunch. New Diamond 10X and Lotteria are here. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.99 to 4.23. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
During the Ram Wrap-Up the Year sales event, take advantage of huge deals on a wide selection of built-to-serve Ram trucks. And right now, finance and get $8,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Go to ram.com and hurry to your local Ram dealer for $8,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Hurry to the Ram Wrap-Up the Year sales event today. Financing for well-qualified buyers through Stellantis Financial. Not all customers will qualify. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 1/2/25.
Looking for great holiday gift ideas for the golfer in your life? Head to Global Golf's annual holiday shopping event Friday, December 14th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Shop great deals on the year's hottest clubs from TaylorMade, Callaway, and Ping. Plus, get a free gift with any pre-owned purchase of $200 or more. Global Golf is home of the best deals in golf, so don't miss our annual holiday shopping event Friday, December 14th, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Global Golf, located in North Raleigh, 7320 ACC Boulevard.
Every season can be punishing for your roof. Mother Nature is a fierce opponent that doesn't take a break, which is why you need RoofWorks on your building maintenance team. Hi, this is Holly from RoofWorks. We specialize in keeping your commercial roof in great condition no matter what the issue may be. We offer roof inspections, roof repairs, and if needed, a full roof replacement. We help determine if there's a problem with your roof and advise you on the most cost-effective way to handle it. Contact us today at roofworks.com. That's roof, WERKS.com.
10 years ago, who could have predicted what the internet would bring? Streaming videos, voice assistants, smartphones, smart homes, work from home. But here we are, wondering what the next 10 years will bring. Whatever it brings, Lumos 100% fiber optic internet is ready with incredible speeds and reliability. So you can do more and be more than you ever thought possible on the internet built for the future. See your future at lumosfiber.com/future.
This is Adam Gold.
We don't need Al Roker in a suit doing yoga.
No.
And Al, to his credit, recognized that and said, you know what? I am not getting into Warrior 2.
I'm stopping at Downward Dog.
There will be no, he didn't get to that. Like, heck no.
The Adam Gold Show.
The Adam Gold Show. Tim Donnelly here sitting in for Adam on a Monday. Victoria Vodenecker here along with us. And what do you think would happen if Adam takes a day off, takes a couple days off, comes back, and Bill Belichick is the head coach of UNC football?
See, that would happen too, because sometimes when Adam takes a day off, big things happen.
I feel like he would walk in and go, that's not true. You guys are messing with me. Like if he, and I'm sure he hasn't, but if he truly like unplugged and was like camping or something like that and just said, yeah, I'll catch up on sports when I come back. And then he comes back and it's Bill Belichick, head coach UNC football.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
It's actually not like 100% unlikely.
No.
It's not impossible, which is absurd to even discuss because I was on air live when the report broke that he had interviewed. And I remember thinking, all right, what's the angle? What's the rub, right? Is he friends with someone at UNC and he knows that him interviewing for this job will make it a more prestigious job and make other guys go, oh, well, you know what? If Bill Belichick's interested, maybe I should be. And I was like, well, who's his agent? Right? Is there someone else out there who has the same agent and somehow this drives up the price? Like, how does all of this work? As he keeps continuing to interview, and he's now done multiple interviews, and reportedly there's been more conversations, and they've discussed structures, and they've discussed succession plans, it's not a stunt. It's not a stunt. This is no longer something where Bill Belichick is being used or willingly being the decoy for something else. Sources told ESPN that talks between UNC and Bill Belichick have continued with some type of resolution either way expected this week. Belichick is expected to make multiple public appearances this week, which could add some clarity to his level of interest. It's not a stunt. That's crazy. This is genuine interest. Now, John Summerall of Tulane signed an extension with Tulane. Doesn't appear like he's going anywhere. The transfer portal opens today. So UNC probably here's a ticking clock in the corner for getting their coach hired. But I want to be clear on something. Hiring Bill Belichick is something you wait a day or two for, even if you feel like you're behind the eight ball. You take a day to make sure Bill Belichick says no before settling for a third or fourth choice. I've talked myself into this completely. And I also want to acknowledge, and there's many of you out there, I've heard from some of you, that think this will be a colossal failure, that think the game has passed him by, that think he's not ready for college, that think that he's going to bring in the same cronies that maybe didn't work at other spots along his career. And to that I say, yeah, maybe. Maybe. If UNC hires Bill Belichick as their head football coach, it might be the biggest catastrophe of a hire we've seen. I'm not going to deny the possibility, but I'm also going to emphasize this. Most coaching hires are colossal failures. How many Kirby Smarts and Dabo Sweeneys are walking around where they win conference championships and national championships and they're going to be around until they don't want to be around anymore? There's like a couple of them at any point in time across the country. Everybody else is either an ascending star or a descending star. And that pivot happens every single year. Not many guys get hired, build a legacy, stick around, and eventually have a statue made. Most of them, at certain points, you're discussing how much it would cost to fire them. That's what most coaches do. So Belichick would be no different. But the difference in Belichick is how high the program can go, how it can change the trajectory positively. Every single coach you hire can fail. I'm not sure there's a bunch of coaches out there that can bring as much buzz as Bill Belichick could bring to UNC.
Not at all.
Like, you had to notice that this weekend, I had people reaching out to me about Belichick, just like, is it real? Could it happen? Is this going to happen? I'm going, yeah. UNC has to notice how much pure fame and buzz they've built just by talking to the dude.
Big time.
We interviewed him twice, and we're on every national show. We're on every person across the country's mind.
Mm-hmm.
When's the last time UNC football was on every single across the country mind?
I tell you what, how much merch do you think would be sold?
Oh, a cutoff hoodie? A UNC Carolina Blue cutoff hoodie.
If they title Bill Belichick as UNC's next head football coach for Christmas, there's going to be so much UNC stuff just being bought up.
And imagine this, with the transfer portal opens today. Say he doesn't get hired till Wednesday or Thursday. Do you think somebody is going to be like, well, UConn reached out to me first, so I'm going to honor that when Bill Belichick calls?
Right now. Yeah.
Absolutely not. It is a ceiling play more than it is a floor play. And I've said this a ton. There's never been a more important time to be good at football than, I wouldn't even say right now. I would say like starting 3 years from now. 3 to 10 years, that 7-year gap starting, what are we in? We're about to be in 2025. So 2028 to 2035, I don't know if there's a more important time in college football history that your team is good. And the reason being, going to come due, that's when realignment and super conferences are going to be discussed heavily. And you want to make sure everybody out there is going, absolutely, we need UNC with us in our group. Or absolutely, we need whatever team here with us in our group. This is the way I describe it. And I want to be clear here, because I don't want people that, I'm the new guy, I'm filling in, I'm the substitute teacher. I am not actually that good of a basketball player, okay?
Even though you're super tall.
I am tall, but that helps. It gives me a certain base level.
You're closer.
But I played college football. And the very first time we played pickup as a college football team, I was a true freshman walk-on. Had one of those days where the ball was going through the hoop, okay? I was throwing up shots that I should not be throwing up, and they were going in. And it wildly increased everybody's opinion of me as a basketball player, to the point where for the next, multiple months, I'd walk into the locker room, and there'd be, arguments and be like, that's it, me and Donnelly 2-on-2 for any amount of money y'all want to play.
Oh, no.
And I'm going whoa,
Wait,
no. I'm not that good. I'm not that good.
No.
But or we'd be saying hey, 5-on-5, we're playing against these guys. Donnelly, you're on my team. And I'm just like, whoa, guys, I'll play. I like to play basketball.
Sure.
Not that good. Playing really, really well in college football over the next, again, starting 2028, is the equivalent of me playing really, really well in that one game. You might not be that good of a program, but then when Alabama and Ohio State and Michigan get together, they're like, we're starting our own league. UNC's coming with us. And they're going to be going whoa. Actually, yeah, I want to come with you guys.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm that good. I don't know if my program is on that level. I don't know if it's sustainable, but we're good right now. You saw us play that one game where we were really good. So I want to come with you to this, 45-team super league that everybody's going to make $1 billion and everybody's going to be able to sustain what you want to sustain in college football. I think Bill Belichick helps them get there. I think he shows up. I think he recruits like a madman. Obviously, he's going to be a good defensive mind. Obviously, he's going to bring in coaches with experience around him. Obviously, players are going to want to play, transfer portal guys are going to want to play for Bill Belichick and a staff made of mostly NFL coaches because they want to go play in the NFL. It's hidden money, right? Instead of having to pay them NIL money, you can pay them they'll get you ready for NFL money, right? So maybe your crosstown rival, NC State, can offer $200,000 to a player. UNC's offering $100,000, but $100,000 of Bill Belichick tutelage that'll turn you into a second-round pick rather than a fourth-round pick.
Exactly.
It's hidden money. Could it explode? Is the game too old? Is he too old for the game? Is he going to be absolutely despising talking to 17-year-olds? Maybe. It could be terrible. But so could hiring the Todd Monken from Army.
Yeah.
So could hiring John Summerall if he didn't want to stay at Tulane.
And even if he only stayed for a year or two, just his presence here for a year or two is significant.
And if he's the coach and then he passes it off to his son, Steve Belichick, then Bill's not going anywhere.
No.
He just probably won't want to recruit. But he'll be he'll be watching film. He'll be around.
Right, with his cutoff sweatshirt.
All of the cutoff sweatshirts.
All of them. And they'll be light blue.
They'll be light blue. They'll be white. They'll have all the colors.
All kinds.
Heather Gray.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show is going to continue coming up next with one-timers. If you have opinions or questions, I guess, or arguments against Bill Belichick, I'm open to them. You can tweet them at me at Donnelly Sports. But in the meantime, we have one-timers coming up next. Victoria takes control coming up.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's that time of year. We can't wait to visit our loved ones. Don't let COVID-19 and the flu stop you. So make sure you don't have to cancel on those you love the most by getting your flu and COVID vaccines. Both flu and COVID vaccines have been updated to fight against the new virus strains that will continue to spread this fall and winter. Don't wait. Get your updated shots today.
Get protected this season with updated COVID-19 and flu shots. Visit myspot.nc.gov and find yours today.
Adam Gold here, and it's time to tackle the NFL on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets if you win. FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, so much more. Same page where you place your bets as well. FanDuel.com/AGS will get you started today, and we will get you started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 wager. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel is an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Healthcare.gov has plans for health because you have plans for life. All plans cover doctor visits and emergency care to keep you and your family running strong. All plans cover hospital stays and prescriptions, so you can have peace of mind. Visit healthcare.gov to explore health plans from the brands you know. 4 out of 5 customers can find a health plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Enroll at healthcare.gov by December 15th for coverage starting January 1st. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Open enrollment for health insurance is here, but don't worry. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance has you covered for all your health insurance needs, including Medicare. And with offices in every county, a trusted, experienced agent is just around the corner, ready to help find a plan that's right for you. Visit ncfbins.com or stop by your local office today. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, helping you is what we do best.
As public power customers, we experience fewer outages and faster restoration than customers of other electric providers. But the benefits of having a locally owned electric system go far beyond unbeaten reliability. Our local public power employees support our community, providing electric hookups for events, installing and maintaining ballpark lights, holiday lights, traffic lights, street lights, and more. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's the value of public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
Have you ever noticed how little things can make a big difference? A simple thank you, a friendly smile when you pass a stranger, looking people in the eye and greeting them with, "Hi, how are you today?" And really meaning it. It takes so little time, but it works wonders. In North Carolina, we have always taken pride in being kind to everybody. Little things do make a difference. Makes you feel better. Makes everyone around you feel better.
This is Adam Gold.
We don't need Al Roker in a suit doing yoga.
No.
And Al, to his credit, recognized that and said, you know what? I am not getting into Warrior 2.
I'm stopping at Downward Dog.
There will be no, he didn't get to that. Like, heck no.
The Adam Gold Show.
The Adam Gold Show on a Monday. Lot to react to, lot to anticipate. I'm Tim Donnelly, sitting in Adam Gold's chair for the day, but Victoria Vodenecker is still here producing, and it is time for one-timers. So there's the music.
I know, it's very dramatic. It's very
I love a good violin.
Yeah, Lindsay Sterling.
Is it really?
No, I don't know. I don't know if it is or not.
That's the
But
one.
she's
That's
great.
the one violinist I would be able to recognize.
She's great.
She played at halftime one of the NFL games recently.
She did. She did. It was fun.
Take it away. One-timers.
Okay. Well, so let's start things off. If you are watching us on the YouTube stream, I am keeping an eye on you, and I know that people are they're talking with us on different things. And one person pointed out, they say that Rod actually messed up the lines when you were talking about getting them out of the skid, out of this funk that they're in. So
messed up the lines.
Yes. So someone on our YouTube stream said that Rod messed up the lines and hasn't put them back yet, and that's why they're on a skid. That's their opinion. So agree, disagree?
Well, we do know that Rod experiments, and we do know that, he doesn't number his lines. If you just ask him, it's not first, second, third, fourth. Sometimes I do think coaches get a little heavy-handed with that, and what I mean is, and that this would be frustrating because coaches are control freaks. If you're in a skid and you need to be snapped out of it, sometimes I think coaches try to, like, they are changing lines. They are, injecting new players into the lineup, when in actuality, you got to let the players get out of it themselves. You keep putting them in what you think is the best strategic positions, and they have to deal with the rest. A lot of times it's more Jimmys and Joes than X's and O's.
Yeah. Okay, well, moving on to another one. So what would you take away, one positive and one negative, that you saw from Bryce Young's performance yesterday?
Positive, I'm going to go with his running ability. When he broke the pocket, when he was out there downfield, he's showing two things. One, he's shifty. He can make you miss, which is wildly important. Even down in the goal line, on their own goal line, the deep completion where he had to kind of scramble around and it looked like it was going to be a safety for a second. Those little, body moves where you get the defender going upfield and you duck underneath them, those aren't easy, and they also can't be taught. You just kind of got to react. You can't be there thinking like, all right, I'm going to set him up with the left, right, boom, boom. you got to just react, and he did that very well. So his mobility impressed me, and he's shown a knack for avoiding the massive hits, which is important because he's a smaller guy.
Right.
So he doesn't get lit up that often, which is nice. Negative, I still need him to be a little bit more consistent, a little bit more like he's actually putting together some highlight plays. The one down on the goal line that we talked about, the over the shoulder catch on the corner route to the left, the deep ball that Xavier Leggett dropped. There's some highlight throws where you're like, wow, that's really good. I need him to complete like 9 of 10 of the easy ones.
Yeah.
Right, his completion percentage isn't high enough. He's still missing a lot of games, missing a lot of throws. When you watch like the Mahomes, the Burrows, the Lamar Jacksons, you see the highlights, but then also it's like they'll go a full drive with no wow plays. They'll just go 7 of 8 and move the ball 80 yards. That's kind of what I'm missing from Bryce. I need more of the doop-doo-doo everyday plays that he just makes ho-hum.
Okay. Well, moving on. Still sticking with Bryce, but first, hi, Steven on YouTube. Thanks for watching. It's his first time watching on YouTube. So,
by the way, everybody can be their first time on YouTube. It's 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. That's our flagship station back in the Triangle. And if you just search 99.9 The Fan, the live stream should be pretty easy to find, and it's every single day.
It'll pop right up.
And if you're out of the Triangle, my show, the Drive with Tim Donnelly, comes up after this one on 99.9 The Fan only, but you all can catch it on the YouTube live stream.
Exactly. Well, so moving on to Bryce, or sticking with Bryce, what do you think? Because I know you're filling in for Adam. So your thoughts on Bryce and his future with the Panthers, if there is one. Do you see that?
At least one more year, if I had to guess. Now, there's a lot of football to be played this year, so I'm 100% in on him getting every start when healthy for the rest of this year. Then you make the decision in the offseason. I'm leaning towards him being the starter next year, if for no reason than this. One of my favorite analogies his rookie year was, and it was around this time, right? Holiday season, Christmas is coming up. I basically said they got the star that you put on top of the tree, and they hadn't gotten the tree. They hadn't gotten the tree stand.
Right.
They hadn't gotten the tinsel, hadn't gotten the ornaments. Like, they hadn't even moved the chair out of the place where you're going to put the tree, but they came in and tried to put up the star, and it's like there's nothing there yet. You had to go get the offensive line, which they did the offseason after his rookie year. They had to increase the wide receivers, which they tried to do with Deontay Johnson and Xavier Leggett being their trade and draft guy. You had to get the running game going. You had to get all of that before the quarterback gets in. So I think now that you have Bryce here, you're likely to keep him one more year, keep assembling everything else. This past offseason, you solved offensive line. Like, good on you. You did it. You spent a ton of money, but you did it. This offseason, solve the playmakers. Get younger, maybe a stud number one wide receiver. We're talking T. Higgins. We're talking maybe somebody in the draft, Tyrone McMillan. Solve that, and then the next year, if you want to replace Bryce, you'd be bringing a quarterback into a situation where it's all decorated already, and you just take the star, you give it to the youngest kid, you hold them up, it's a cute picture, they put it on top, and it's ready to go.
Right? Perfect. There's a Christmas card. Well, moving on, this wasn't perfect for the Buffalo Bills. I know a lot of people were thinking this could be their year, which it still could be for the Super Bowl. However, they did get a crazy loss to the Rams yesterday. All the points were being scored. So do you see this as something that might set them back or just ignite them even further to keep going?
For the Bills?
Yeah.
The Bills are good. I don't know if it does either. I think it's a really frustrating game. I know nobody cares about fantasy, but I think sometimes fantasy points are a good way to judge like an all-encompassing, like quarterback's fantasy points includes running and touchdowns and interceptions, and like it's all judging. Josh Allen's game was the best fantasy game for a quarterback in history, like number one most fantasy points by a quarterback in history, and he lost. That can mess with you a little bit, but also, you know, if anything, the defense should be angry because you got carved up by Matt Stafford and Puka Nacua and that crew. But for the Bills' offense is just good. Josh Allen is just good. And I don't know if a winning, losing, big game, not big game, like I think they're good and they're going to continue to be good.
Okay. Well, saying hi to our YouTube stream again. Thank you, Chef Wolf, for the compliment. But he also has a question for you.
Chef Wolf?
Yes.
Cook it up. Cook it up, Chef.
Kind. I appreciate your kind words. To Tim, my question is, when you make a beautiful throw and your receiver drops it, how do you respond on the next play?
It depends on the relationship with the wide receiver. There were wide receivers in my career where if they drop a big throw, you tell coach, hey, they're not in anymore, right? If they aren't a big part of the offense, if they aren't somebody you depend on, they just had their chance. It's like, hey, you know what? Today is not his day. We'll come back to him next week. Then there's wide receivers who, if they drop a pass, you go to coach and you go, I need them to catch. My next throw is going, I don't care what the play is, my next throw is going to that player to show him that I'm still confident in him. And if it's something like the Xavier Legette drop, where it's at the end of a game and you can't exactly go back to him, this week, I hope he gets 10 targets. Like, you have to let him know that the team still believes in him, you still believe in him. He's a big part of the future of the Panthers, whether you want to believe it or not. So it's all about confidence. And this is going to be really weird and cynical. As a quarterback, sometimes it's a little freeing when you get to be the guy to do that, when you get to say, like, hey, I'm coming right back to you. Because you know you're going to throw interceptions, and you want everybody to stay confident in you. So it's almost like he now owes you one, right? It's like he dropped one, hey, we're good. But that's weird, and you do that mental math as little as you possibly can because you don't want to keep score against your wide receivers on who messes up more.
I know. Plus, I love hearing Xavier talk. I just want to hear his press conferences.
It is. The Adam Thielen mic'd up where Adam was like, I can translate for you. You say what you want to say, and then I'll say it into the mic was a funny bit. The Adam Gold Show continuing on a Monday. Tim Donnelly here filling in for Adam. We were just talking a little Panthers there at the end of One-Timers. The Panthers are threading the needle perfectly. You could argue their loss to the Eagles could not be scripted better, and we're going to break it down. The script, the screenwriting, next. Don't go anywhere.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam from my friend Barack and his team down at Diamonds Direct Crabtree, and boy, do they do a great job, and they do a better job during the holidays. Wait, they do a great job, they do a better job? They do a great job all the time. I will never, ever, ever purchase a diamond or fine gemstone piece of jewelry anywhere else. Why? Quality is the best. Selection is 20 times what you're going to find at another jewelry store. I'm not kidding. The price is the best. I get the best quality, the best selection, and the best price. How is that possible? Diamonds Direct Crabtree sells directly to you. That's why it's called Diamonds Direct, by the way. They're not selling to other stores. It's almost like having an uncle in the diamond business. Uncle Barack, if you will. Especially for the holidays when everything is so expensive, Diamonds Direct Crabtree is there to your rescue. Diamonds Direct Crabtree, shop online, diamondsdirect.com, or go to the showroom on Glenwood Avenue in front of Crabtree Valley Mall in Raleigh.
A new game has landed in North Carolina. Officials are calling this new species of game Cash Pop. So easy to play, it's out of this world. Reports confirm you just pick and match one number to win up to $2,500. With 5 drawings every day, cash landings have been cited across the state. So be on the lookout for Cash Pop from the North Carolina Education Lottery. The wins are out there. Must be 18 to play. See Cash Pop prize and odds chart at nclottery.com for details. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
Hey man, been to Sharky's lately?
Yeah, man, I was there last night with you.
Oh, yeah. The wings and the burgers are killer. They have so many beers it's hard to choose, you know?
I know. You know, they got trivia on Tuesdays and luck of the draw darts on Sunday, man. I love them both.
Yeah, I love that place, man.
You know what, man? I think Sharky's may be the best bar in the world.
Yeah, I think you're right, man. Let's go grab a beer.
Sharky's at the corner of Delta Lake Drive and Durham Road. Open 7 days a week.
Hi, it's Jonathan Cotton, and people often ask me, what is the Good Feet store? A shoe store? I respond, we are an arch support store. Haven't you spent enough time trying different shoes and all the disposable products that are supposed to make your feet feel better? Go to goodfeet.com to make your appointment today.
Not sure how much you know about Progressive Insurance. You may know us for insuring your home and auto. You may know a couple of our commercials. But what you may not know is that since 2013, Progressive has been honoring veterans with vehicle donations through the annual Keys to Progress Veteran Vehicle Giveaway Program, giving back to those who gave so much. Now, you probably didn't wake up today saying, I really wish I knew more about Progressive Insurance, but this seemed like the type of thing people wouldn't mind hearing about. Find out more about how we're dedicated to our customers and communities at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Young is in the gun. Hubbard right hip. Shotgun snap. Quick throw. Near side. Tommy Tremble into the end zone. Front right corner of the end zone. Carolina back on top. The gutsy call pays off. Goal line set. Bryce under center. Hubbard the single back. Snap. Handoff Chuba. Into the end zone for a Carolina touchdown. And the Panthers have a 16-14 lead with 2:49 left in the third. A run by Hubbard right up the gut behind the massive Robert Hunt.
The Adam Gold Show. Tim Donnelly here sitting in for Adam. I've said this a few times, but for those of you that don't know, I do host a show called The Drive following the Adam Gold Show on 99.9 The Fan, which is the flagship for this show, although this show is also in so many other places around the state. But something we do on The Drive is something we call Monday Sound Off. And it's very simple. We basically open the phone lines and let you sound off on whatever you want. So I thought we'd do that for you as well. The phone number to call in is 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. 532-6. If there's something that you want to sound off on, if you want to sound off on Bryce Young, if you want to sound off on the UNC football coaching search, any of the basketball games that took place, which, by the way, the 4 ACC teams from the state of North Carolina are 4-0 to start the ACC schedule over the weekend. Not the prettiest wins, but hey.
A win's a win.
You're darn right. The Canes, whatever you want to sound off on, we're going to make that available to you. 919-860-5326 if you want to call in here to the Adam Gold Show. Again, 919-860-5326. Right now, though, let's fire it up and do a little take two. Now, take two, you know what that means, right? It means we're gonna run it back. I said this earlier today. I think the Panthers might be scripting their games. Not really, right? I don't think it's rigged or scripted or anything like that. But the Panthers are becoming the all-time record holder in games that they probably should have won, but made just enough of a mistake right at the end to lose, thus keeping everyone excited about their momentum and thus keeping everyone excited about how well they can play and the development of their young guys, while also still preserving a high draft pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. It is a Venn diagram that doesn't overlap very much, right? That center of the Venn diagram where you are both excited about the team's development and drafting in the top 5 of the draft, that is a small sliver. But the Panthers are kind of doing it, right? You win 2 games, then you have 3 nail-biter losses to a division rival and 2 very good teams. Everyone's like, all right, you're in it. All right, you're forcing the issue. All right, Bryce Young's playing better. All right, some of these young defensive players are stepping up. All right, momentum. Meanwhile, with the 3 losses, you still are picking 4th in the NFL Draft. Now, there are a few things I would change, right? I would love to not have Xavier Legette drop a crucial ball. I would love to not have Jonathan Brooks get hurt. I would love to have some of these other young guys maybe play a little bit more, be featured a little bit more. But overall, if Bryce keeps developing, your offensive line keeps playing well, the defense keeps, especially your secondary, keeps developing, and you keep losing games, that's kind of ideal, isn't it? That's kind of perfect, isn't it? That's kind of what the Panthers should be, have to be, want to be doing. Now, Victoria, we should have gone over this before the show. Do we have callers? Look, I'm getting the yes. I'm not sure where she is writing the names. Right, we have this little system behind the scenes here.
So we actually have Sawyer, who's in Chicago.
Look at that.
And he wants to talk about the Canes.
All right, Sawyer in Chicago wants to talk about the Canes. So joining us on the phone lines, which, by the way, you can as well, 919-860-5326. They are open for Monday reactions to the weekend. Sawyer in Chicago, thank you for calling in. What's your sound off on the Canes?
Hi, Tim. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well.
So I just have I'm not really concerned about this little slump that the Canes have been on, because if there's one person that I trust in this situation, it's Rod.
You and me both.
I think he'll be able to help us get back on the right track of winning more games than we. And I just feel like the slump is not something to be overly concerned about. I do feel like there is a concern in the net, and I do want to get your opinion on. Do you think that this is something that we should ride Dustin Torkowski and PK for the time being and hope that Freddie gets back soon? Or do you think that, in your opinion, we should shake things up and maybe look in the goalie market, maybe poke around, see what's out there?
All right, I'm gonna ask just one follow-up question here, and it's a point that obviously we've all been discussing. Do you think that, are you asking me for a prediction on what they will do, or for what I would do if I were the GM?
I'm asking for your honest opinion as GM.
I am somebody that I think I'm a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more greedy than the way the Canes kind of operate. I don't think they'll make a move because they are so unbelievably patient and it's worked out for them. I'm going to get a goalie at the deadline, though. I'm going to get a goalie as soon as I can, because I think they in a lot of ways, and maybe they have over the last 5 years, they're like an elite goalie performance away from maybe getting the cup, which is what I would swing for the fences for.
Amen. I hear you there. I feel like last season, while Freddie coming back in the regular season was absolutely incredible, and I love the numbers he was posting up, I do think that those last few goals that he let in during the Rangers series were the big difference makers. And I do think that, like you said, one, not even a elite goaltender, maybe just a top tier, above average, gives you the major save when you need the major save in net. Somebody like that between the pipes during the postseason is what we need. And I am under the impression, I feel like PK can be that in tenfold. I think that he can be, at his prime, maybe a top 10, maybe even top 5 goalie in the league.
All right, appreciate it, Sawyer. We'll let you go here, but I'll add one thing on the way out, which is I wonder if the Jake Gensel thing doesn't make them leery of going big at the deadline.
Yeah.
Because they were the team that never goes and gets the high-level score, the rental at the deadline, and then they did it, and they kind of got burned by it, especially in free agency. So now they're the team that never goes and gets the goalie at the deadline, and I wonder if they're like, that's why we always get burned. We'll see. Who else do we have on the line? I don't know where these
Okay, so
here we go. I got them.
Yes.
I see where they are now.
Next up, we have Robert in Raleigh.
Wants to talk about a few different things in the chat here. So go ahead, Robert. Take it away.
I promise to stay on topic and be very brief. I'll go Canes, UNC, and Bryce Young.
All right.
Canes,
rapid fire.
Canes, better to slump now than in the playoffs.
100%.
I'm very excited about UNC's bowl matchup. We'll get to it on your show as we get closer to the game because you know who this is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. I now recognize Robert. Yep.
Yeah, I'm very excited about UNC's bowl matchup.
For those of you that don't know Robert is notorious for calling up and saying there's a local team he wants to talk about, and then by the end of his comments, somehow he's talking about UConn. So seeing UNC against UConn in the bowl game up there, might as well be a home game for UConn in Fenway. Robert was 100% going to call in today.
This month, Tim, we're going to have a lot of fun. I am excited about the bowl game. And I'll admit to not watching a lot of Bryce this year.
Okay.
I work on Sunday, but listening to your analysis, if he's really good under pressure and the game, and I know the NFL is not college, and I'm going to just make a comment and hang up, why don't we go no huddle and just throw them into the fire and just let them go rapid fire? It seems to do better that way, and I'll listen to your comments off the air. Thanks. Bye.
Love the logic. Absolutely love the logic. There's an old stand-up comedian joke, which is, when a plane crashes, they always find the little black box?
Yes.
The joke is, why don't they make the whole plane out of the little black box if that part is never broken?
Right.
The same logic, right? If he's so good at the 2-minute drill, why not play the 2-minute drill the whole game? The answer to that question is big guys get tired. Offensive linemen get tired. Defenses get tired, meaning if your offense is going 2-minute drill the whole time, your defense is never on the bench because you're always rushing. And you can't be as detailed. It's as a quarterback, I used to love the 2-minute drill. It's just really, really difficult to be a team that does that nonstop, although it is super fun and you get to put up big stats. There was a moment 20 years ago where Chip Kelly, with all the boards, he had the poster boards. They were trying. Everybody was trying. It wasn't that easy to just fly through, and everybody kind of went back to more traditional stuff. Christian in Cary is next up on the call-in line, 919-860-5326. Wants to talk Panthers. So, Christian, go ahead. The floor is yours. Talk about the Bryce Young-led Panthers.
So I am actually very happy with the progression I've seen in the last 3 weeks. I think Bryce has proven he's the guy for the future. My concerns, though, the receivers, I've seen way too many drops in the last 3 weeks. Jatavion, or not Jatavion. Trimble had a drop in the end zone a couple weeks ago.
That would have been a tough catch, but you'd hope he makes it. That you're talking about the contested one, down the seam?
Down the seam, in the middle of the end zone. I think he should have came down with that.
Leggett
had the ball in his hands yesterday. David Moore had a drop on a post corner route. I think it was last week. So the drops are concerning on the offense. I think we're going to have to open the checkbooks and maybe get a guy like T. Higgins. I love Thielen. I think Thielen should, stay one more year. But I think we need a wide receiver to kind of ease the pressure on the other guys.
I completely agree, Christian. This is one of those calls where, I'll build off of it. But thank you for calling in. I completely agree. I think that this offseason, last offseason, was about rebuilding the offensive line into a way that you can have an above-average unit in the NFL. I think next year it is about rebuilding the pass-catching core in a way that you can be above average in the NFL. And similarly, the offensive line, you didn't buy new pieces everywhere. Taylor Moton's still there. Ike Ekwonu, who was a problem before this year, still there. The centers, for the most part, are players that were moved around. So I think, you keep Xavier Legette. Maybe you keep Adam Thielen, kind of like you kept Ike and you kept Taylor Moton up front, and you rebuild around that. And, whoever the Robert Hunt is of wide receivers, you might have to spend up a little bit, right? They spent top guard market on Robert Hunt, and it's working. He's a beast. You might have to spend top wide receiver market on someone like T. Higgins, and maybe it'll work there. Or with your top pick, you go Travis Hunter, Teteroa McMillan, and you bring in the number one that way. But it's I agree with you. There's no argument from me. Last one here for this segment. We'll take Darren in Johnston County on the call-in line, 919-860-5326. Darren, go ahead and talk Canes for us.
How you doing, sir?
Doing very well.
Love the show, as always. Two things about the Canes. For the fans who are wanting a goalie trade, it's very rare in season to get a goalie trade.
Mm-hmm.
Any goalie that's available is not any good, and any good goalie is not available. So,
fair. That is,
yes.
And by the way, that's not just in season. Out of season, a lot of times it's hard to find a goalie. They don't grow on trees.
Right. It's a free agent deal most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
As far as these recent lines by Rod Brindamore, love him as a coach, great coach. However, he can be stubborn in his ways sometimes. Jack Drury did not work in the second round of the playoffs as 2C. Since the switch of Jack Drury at 2C and KK at 4C, the second line has 2 5-on-5 goals. Marty Natchez has 0 5-on-5 goals.
I hear what you're saying. I do want to push back a little bit. I don't know if Kokiniemi was working gangbusters there for the trade, right? It's like I agree with everybody, and this is one of the common refrains from the fan base that Jack Drury isn't a second-line center. I agree with you there. I don't know if there's a second-line center on this roster. I use this example. Like, there's a bunch of high school basketball teams running around with like a 6'2" center. That's not because they have a 7-footer on the bench. It's because that's all they have. I think Jack Drury playing second-line center might be because they're looking around going, this is the best option, like this is the tallest player we have, right? It's not because they have a better option behind him.
True. I mean, I'm very involved in the sport.
Cool.
For me, who used to scout, I mean, I see as second-line center and Marty Natchez. Why not put him in there? You have someone in the minors right now dishing out the puck to everybody, scoring goals for these young players, and he's being wasted in the AHL in Ryan Suzuki.
Well, Suzuki's an interesting one, but I'm not sure.
Better options than what we have going right now.
Let me ask you this, and this will be the last one because we're up against it. Hold on. Let me ask you this, and then it'll be the last one because we're up against it. Are you suggesting you change Martin Natchez's role when he's leading the NHL in points pretty much?
No, not exactly. No, not at all. But if you're looking for a 2C in the future, that is something you could try and practice, try certain things and practice. That would be a practice.
All right. Appreciate the call. We're up against it, so we got to let you go. But thank you once again. Adam Gold Show. We opened up the phone lines there. We might do that again. That was fun.
I know, because we even have one on the stream, which we could bring up later.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That's what we call in the business a tease.
Right.
Adam Gold Show will continue up next with a wraparound of basketball. Duke basketball beats Louisville. UNC sneaks by Georgia Tech. And NC State beats Florida State. Wake Forest got the win. There was an ACC sweep for the teams from the state of North Carolina in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Which teams impressed and which escaped? Well, it's kind of obvious, but we'll break it down next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Football is on the menu tonight.
Showtime, prime time.
And we're dishing up a clash of conferences.
Hot dog, man.
It's Cincinnati and Dallas.
Dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3, dominate.
Pregame starts at 7:30. Kickoff at 8:15.
Put up or shut up time.
The NFL on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wake Med.
Here we go.
99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Monday night, you gotta feel it.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my man, Coach Pete DeRuta, Capital Financial Advisory Group in Apex. You have thought about it. I know you have, because I have. Don't tell my bosses. Can I retire? Can I retire on my terms? Can I retire before they retire me? Do I have what I need to live the life I want to live upon retirement? Coach Pete DeRuta can help. I am going to help you get to Coach Pete DeRuta for free. Oh my gosh, free. I love free. 888-843-0013 or text Adam to 600-700. If you go through either of those methods, you will get a total customized retirement plan for free. It's a $1,000 value if you don't know me. That's right. It's a $1,000 value to somebody else, and this will set you up in retirement. Coach Pete DeRuta is an expert in retirement planning. He can help. 888-843-0013 or text Adam to 600-700 for Coach Pete DeRuta.
Digging out from under a giant gift list? Kill two birds with one stone at the Dugout Tavern and Grill. First, grab a much-needed break from holiday prep at the #1 sports bar in Apex. Second, get Dugout gift cards for everyone on your list. For every $50 card you buy, you get a bonus $10 gift card. Think teachers, babysitters, pet sitters, Secret Santa gifts. Dugout Tavern and Grill can also host your holiday party or cater it and come to you. Find us on Kelly Road in Apex, thedugouttavern.com.
During the Ram Wrap-Up the Year sales event, take advantage of huge deals on a wide selection of built-to-serve Ram trucks. And right now, finance and get $8,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Go to ram.com and hurry to your local Ram dealer for $8,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Hurry to the Ram Wrap-Up the Year sales event today. Financing for well-qualified buyers through Stellantis Financial. Not all customers will qualify. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 1/2/25.
Welcome to the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club Aromatherapy Room. Our first scent is the essence of this month's scratch-offs.
I'm getting notes of anticipation mingled with cold hard cash.
Anyone else?
Oh, is that tilapia?
Sorry, that's my lunch.
New Diamond 10X and Lotteria are here. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.99 to 4.23. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them. I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. Not available in Washington State.
Adam Gold for my friend Dr. Lori Travers and Travers LASIK with a life-changing moment for you. Make the call now, 919-510-6830. Go online, traverslasik.com, set up your free consultation, and get rid of contact lenses and glasses forever. It'll change your life. It'll save you money in the long run, I promise. 15 years ago, Dr. Lori Travers changed my life. 919-510-6830, traverslasik.com. See what you've been missing. Travers LASIK.
This is Adam Gold.
When the U.S. Space Force plays Air Force in the Military Bowl, then I will recognize the
It'll be out of this world.
The anthem.
Sorry, I had to.
The Adam Gold Show.
The Adam Gold Show here on a Monday. Tim Donnelly filling in for Adam. I think we're going to open up the phone lines again in a little bit, so if you didn't get on during that last little section, that's fine. We will find time for you to have your voice heard on the program. But I do want to wrap around some of the basketball from across the state. Duke won, UNC won, NC State won, Wake Forest won. There's a certain simplicity in that. And there's a certain kind of open and shut nature of that, right? You in conference play, wins are wins, losses are losses, and you don't always have to dive in further. But then there's the part of me saying, not all wins are the same. It's like the angel and the devil on my shoulder, right? The angel is going, whatever it takes to win by any means necessary. 1 point, right? It's actually has the voice of Vin Diesel, Dom Toretto in the first Fast and the Furious.
Yes.
Doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
Right.
And then there's the devil on the other side going, I don't know. If you have to squeak by Georgia Tech and it feels close and you're a team that doesn't have any major non-conference wins, that win doesn't feel as good as some of the other wins. And, of course, I'm talking about UNC there. So let's go through them one by one. We'll start with Duke. Duke basketball beat Louisville. And if there is a concern for Duke, right, and I make no mistake about it, the AP poll just got updated. They're up to number 4 in the country. They haven't been in the top 5 since the beginning of last season. So they're impressing people. Their talent pops. If there is a concern, and I say this with like a weird amount of, I understand how ridiculous it sounds. They might be depending on Cooper Flagg too much. And the reason why I say I understand the ridiculousness of it is, yeah, if you have the projected number 1 overall pick, why would you not depend on that guy a lot? It's if I had Adrian Peterson in 2008, I'm probably going to hand the ball to him a bunch of times. How is that a bad thing? Well, here's the thing. Going into their game against Louisville, Cooper Flagg was leading the team in points, rebounds, assists, blocks, and steals. No matter how special he is, I don't think that's the way to go about it. Now, Malik Brown, one of their transfers, did take over the steals lead when he picked up 3 steals against Louisville. But Cooper Flagg is right behind him, second on the team. So he leads the team right now in points, rebounds, assists, and blocks, and is hot on the heels of the steals leader. I think Tyrese Proctor should be their assist leader. I think Kamen Malawash should be their rebounding and blocks leader. You might even say someone like Kon Knippel should be the points leader. Because they're elite talents too. They're all 5 stars too. They're all hoping to play in the NBA too. They might be lottery picks too. Right? And if that's what they do and they're elite talents, then I don't know, maybe catch them in one thing. John Shire, after the Louisville game, because Cooper Flagg did get in a little bit of foul trouble, talked about players stepping up when Flagg was in that foul trouble.
Complete trust in Mason to come in that moment. And the value of our team is we have more than 5 guys that can play, more than 5 guys that can even start. And Mason came in. Con really stepped up in that moment. I thought Tyrese and Sion just kept us steady. And obviously I mentioned the plays already with Malik. But this team is way more than just one player. It's way more than just a couple players. Before the game, ironically, we talked about the depth of our team. Part of our goal was just to wear on them. They've had a lot of injuries, and so they don't have the benefit of playing as deep as probably they would like to. And that was a goal for us, and I thought down the stretch we were physically more ready just because of the depth.
They have depth. They have talent in depth. I do think at times for stretches they just go, Cooper will take care of it. And when in the regular season, guess what? Cooper will take care of it. What do you have, 20, 12, and 3? Seems like he has that every single game. But in there has to be an understanding that to win 6 games, which is what you have to do to win a national title, he's going to have an off day. I went back and looked at it just because this is the patron saint of freshmen that lead their teams to national championships. Carmelo Anthony, back in whatever it was, 03 with Syracuse. In the second round of the NCAA tournament, he went 5 for 16 from the field, had 13 points. And Syracuse was still able to beat a 22-win Oklahoma State team featuring future NBA players because Hakeem Warwick and Jerry McNamara and some of his teammates stepped up. There's going to be that moment for Duke, and I think they're going to want to have practiced it a few times before they get to that particular game. But we're nitpicking there. They're the number 4 team in the country. Now, because UNC fans love when you go from kind of praising Duke to talking about UNC not being as crisp, we'll make that transition over to UNC sneaking by Georgia Tech. I want to have a trust tree moment. Trust tree.
Okay.
Right? Just me and UNC fans talking here.
Okay. I didn't know if it was like that falling thing where you're like the catching game.
Fall?
Yeah.
Go ahead, fall. I'll catch you.
Right.
We can do a trust fall just to prove that I'm trustworthy, and then I'll ask you this question. How close are you to tapping that panic button if you're a UNC basketball fan? I don't even know if this is true, but I saw a meme online that said in Norway, when someone says like, "Hey, how's it going?" It's a common refrain to say up and not crying. That's like whatever it translates to. Like, how are you doing? Hey, I'm up and I'm not crying.
Interesting.
I think that's where UNC basketball fans are right now. Like, they're awake. They're not crying, but that's it. You aren't happy. You aren't good. Like, hey, how's it going? You're not like, hey, it's going great.
Yeah, I'm breathing.
You're not attacking the day with enthusiasm. You're just like, no, I'm up and I am not crying. They've lost to all 3 ranked teams they've played. They lost to Michigan State in a non-conference game. They have 5 wins, but they come against Elon, American, Hawaii, Dayton, and Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech picked to finish 12th in the ACC in the preseason. And the Dayton and Georgia Tech wins came down to the wire. The Dayton win needed a wild comeback, and Georgia Tech, you had to make the free throws down the stretch. Hubert Davis was asked after the game if UNC saw the response from the team that he wanted to see in the win.
Well, I think our guys when I came in the locker room after the game, I told them I was really proud of them. I think it's very difficult, very hard to win a game. I think it's very difficult and hard to win a conference game. And so, and I even told them before the game that playing here, playing at this level is difficult and hard. And so you have to find the joy and enjoyment of how hard it is to individually and as a team to be successful at this level.
Yeah, I hear you. But you have the defending John Wooden Award winner in R.J. Davis for the best shooting guard in the country. You have the defending ACC Player of the Year in R.J. Davis. You have more talent than – you have Seth Trimble, who was one of my favorite players to watch when he got in the game last year for UNC. You have 2 of the top, 12 recruits in the country in Ian Jackson and Drake Powell. How concerned are you? You've played 20 – I actually did the math here. 9 games of your regular season schedule, that's 29%. You're creeping up on a third of your season already donezo. R.J. Davis is shooting 24% from 3. Last season, he shot 39.8 on nearly the same volume. I'm getting closer to the point, and I've said this. There's receipts of me saying it weeks ago, where like I'm not going to be concerned about UNC on a short sample size, right? You play 4 games, you don't shoot well. I'm not going to be yelling and screaming, right? You could win the batting title in baseball going 0 for your first 12 at bats because everybody's going to go 0 for at some point in time. It's all flying. You'll have time to make it up, but there comes a point where it's like, no, you're too far into the season now. If R.J. Davis is shooting less than 25% from 3, a third of the way into the season, does that not get you a little, like maybe you're not smashing the panic button, but you are finding where it is? You're making sure you know how to? Georgia Tech is a solid program. Damon Stoudemire, the coach there, Bayan Dongo, one of their best players, like they'll upset some teams this year. But UNC is a program that shouldn't be the one you catch. They caught him last year, but that alone should have your attention. Like I'm a little concerned about UNC basketball this season. Thus concerned about ACC basketball because they have to be a flag bearer. They have to be out there up front making things happen. NC State beat Florida State in overtime. Let's go ahead and open up the phone lines, 919-860-5326. Sound off on whatever you want. Could be basketball, could be UNC coaching search. Bill Belichick making comments as we speak about his potential desire to be the UNC coach. Could be the Panthers, could be the Canes, whatever you want to talk about. 919-860-5326.
Maybe even UNC's basketball coach, because I know some fans are a little tired of Davis.
I think if you offered Belichick the lacrosse coaching role,
yeah,
he might take that over football.
Yes.
I don't know if he knows anything about basketball. Again, 919-860-5326 if you want to call in. While some of you do or don't call in, I'll break down the NC State Florida State game. NC State beat Florida State in overtime. That's a good win, right? You open ACC play, Florida State's a good program, you win the game. But I actually think the news is better than that because they also found out who their dudes are going to be this season, right? They found out who are the people they're going to lean on in big moments. Dontrez Styles and Marcus Hill, Both went for 20+. But it's the overtime where I learned the extra. Marcus Hill and Dontrez Styles were the only two players with made field goals in the overtime period, and they won the overtime period by 10. Hill had 8 points, including 4 made free throws. Dontrez had 5 points, including the 3 that gave them the lead. And Jaden Taylor made a free throw. That's it. That's it. This is a team that's been looking for who their main character is going to be. And when I say main character, I mean when the other team scores 8 straight points, 2 threes and 2 free throws, and your 4-point lead's now a 4-point deficit, and you just need to stop the bleeding, who is coach calling a play for? We didn't know who that was at the beginning of the year. Through many of their non-conference games, we didn't know who that was. It's Styles and Hill. After that win over Florida State, it's Styles and Hill. Dean from Rocky Mount is on the call-in line. You can be as well. We've opened up the lines for whatever you want to talk about. 919-860-5326. Dean in Rocky Mount wants to talk NC State basketball. How appropriate. Dean, thank you for calling in. Go ahead and talk State.
I think you're a mind reader, Tim, because I was going to talk about Marcus Hill and Dontrez Styles. And earlier when I asked my question about wide receiver drops, you brought up Xavier Legette, which is exactly what I was going to talk about. But it's been a wild week, and it's been a wild 2 weeks, really, if you think about it, going back to the Feast Week tournaments. But they were playing around on Saturday. They had me thinking, well, are they going to lose this? Because Florida State this year, the ACC's reputation, there's not, many high-quality games, and that's one of those games you look at would probably be marked down as a bad loss. So for a while I'm thinking, man, our tournament hope's going to end in December, but they were able to get it together and ended up getting it on right.
I appreciate the call, and great minds think alike, so we'll continue mind melding here. We'll let you go, and I'll respond to everything you just said there. I have way too much respect for Leonard Hamilton, the head coach of Florida State, to ever call Florida State like not a good win or a bad loss. Even if they don't have the NBA prospects they've had recently, like they're going to be a tough win all the time. And they went into last night's game 7-2 with at least one of their losses against a ranked opponent. I think they lost to Florida. So Florida State's always going to be a solid team. Middle of the pack at worst, as long as Leonard Hamilton is there. But also, I mean, you're right. The NC State team, they for lack of a better term, they play with their food a little bit. They play to the level of their competition a little bit. And it was obvious someone needed to make a kind of big play. And it ended up being Styles and Hill being the most comfortable doing it. There's like last year's NC State run, and I know everybody is, if you're a State fan, you're never going to get bored talking about it. If you're anyone else, you're probably like, we get it. They made the Final Four last year. DJ Burns and DJ Horn on that roster are not easy guys to replace. And that's from a scoring standpoint, also from a personality standpoint. Like DJ Burns commanded a room. I don't know if I've said it on this show yet. And by the way, the call-in lines will remain open, 919-860-5326. But Victoria, others from our station, we get the opportunities to go to these ACC tip-off and kickoff events, which are like the media opening days for the basketball season and football season. And one thing I always note, right, the last segment we do from Charlotte, which is where they take place, after we've talked to coaches, we've talked to players, we've gotten all the insight, we've observed everything, is I always make note of who commanded the room. And, like, there's some you predict. When Dabo Swinney walks into football media day, the buzz goes up in the room and everyone kind of looks. For better or worse, you can like him or hate him. It just happens. But there's usually 2 or 3 people that have a similar effect that I'm really surprised by. I remember going back 2 years to ACC kickoff when Riley Leonard, the quarterback of Duke, walked in. The whole place kind of buzzed and everybody looked at him, and I went, really? Riley Leonard? Huh. And then that year, Duke, beat Clemson in the storm. They stormed the field, and they were hosting game day, and it became a thing. And I was like, look at that. In basketball, right, there's always, like, if there's a future lottery pick or something like that, that player is going to get certain buzz. When John Shire, Hubert Davis walks in, they're going to get a certain buzz. But DJ Burns of NC State at ACC tip-off last year walked in. You would have thought Elvis walked in. Like everybody noticed him. He had the sunglasses on. It was just one of those things. That's difficult to replace. right? Because DJ Burns wasn't just that walking into ACC kickoff or tip-off. He's also that walking into a locker room. He's also that walking into an away arena. He's also that walking into a pep rally. He's also like, so when you were on that team last year, you knew when you walked in, nobody was looking at you, right? Nobody was looking at you. I used to, again, I played college quarterback, and one of the funniest things that one of my quarterbacks coaches, my high school quarterback coach, he said, as the quarterback, you have 3 seconds where you can do anything you want. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, the moment you let go of a deep ball, everyone in the entire arena, everyone in the entire stadium is watching the arc of that pass go down the field. He said, nobody is looking at you. And I was like, okay, so what do you mean? He's like, you want to jab a defensive lineman who's been hitting you all night? Do it then? No, they will never throw a flag, because even refs that are supposed to be watching you are watching the arc of the ball. And it's probably not the best advice from a high school coach to a high school football player, saying, like, throw a deep ball and punch a guy in the face. But it is true. Like, when you let the ball go, even though you're the quarterback, nobody is watching you. That was the experience for a lot of NC State guys last year. You walk into the room, everybody's watching DJ Burns. So you can relax, right? You can chill. If you're Michael O'Connell, if you're Ben Middlebrooks, like, you're not the main attraction. This year, somebody has to be the main attraction other than DJ Burns. And Dontrez Styles and Marcus Hill seem the most capable. And in overtime, right, when the spotlight gets the brightest of an ACC game at home against a solid program in Florida State, against a good coach in Leonard Hamilton, those two guys scored all but 1 point in the overtime period, and they won that overtime period by 10. So I think yes, the win is big, don't get me wrong. But I'm going to add in that finding out who your dudes are might have been more important than even the win, or at least made the win multiplied in I guess importance. And then lastly here quickly, Wake Forest also got the win. And this is later in my show, we kind of do something we call the Dean's List, where we highlight college players, just positive. Cam Hildreth is going to be one of mine. He had 22 and 10 in their win over Boston College, 22 points, 10 rebounds. The reason why he's going to be one of the guys I highlight is he played, and I say this in praise, like trash against Texas A&M, and they lost that game the previous game. And both Hildreth and Steve Forbes, the coach, said Forbes had to rip into him. After that game, got a mouthful, right? Got all kinds of crazy stuff. To respond with a 22-point, 10-rebound, lead the team to a victory over Boston College game after, as a senior, you get dressed down by your coach following a bad performance, that's how you respond. Like, that's, you want to put that on a motivational poster and show it to youth sports about, like, you can get yelled at by someone who cares about you, and you don't have to go into the tank. You don't have to say, I don't know why I didn't transfer. You don't have to call somebody and complain. You can actually, like, get back to work and improve and play better next game. So give Cam Hildreth a lot of credit there, and give Wake Forest a lot of credit for winning over Boston College, another team picked to finish near the bottom of that ACC. We're going to take a break here on the Adam Gold Show, but don't you fret. When we come back, we have the 7th inning stretch. We have to place some bets. Hopefully we make a whole bunch of money. Stick around.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
For Monday Night Football, FanDuel wants you to win even bigger. Adam Gold here, and right now all customers can get a 30% catch-a-pass profit boost on the Bengals and Cowboys tonight. That means you can boost your next NFL catch-a-pass bet by 30% and take home even more winnings during the game. Over-unders, spreads, player props, so much more. Plus, if you win, you get paid right away. Don't wait. Download America's #1 sportsbook by visiting FanDuel.com/AGS to take advantage of a profit boost today. FanDuel.com/AGS and have fun. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Max wager amount applies. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms for both offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Healthcare.gov has plans for health because you have plans for life. All plans cover doctor visits and emergency care to keep you and your family running strong. All plans cover hospital stays and prescriptions so you can have peace of mind. Visit healthcare.gov to explore health plans from the brands you know. 4 out of 5 customers can find a health plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Enroll at healthcare.gov by December 15th for coverage starting January 1st. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Open enrollment for health insurance is here, but don't worry. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance has you covered for all your health insurance needs, including Medicare. And with offices in every county, a trusted, experienced agent is just around the corner, ready to help find a plan that's right for you. Visit ncfbins.com or stop by your local office today. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, helping you is what we do best.
As public power customers, we experience fewer outages and faster restoration than customers of other electric providers. But the benefits of having a locally owned electric system go far beyond unbeaten reliability. Our local public power employees support our community, providing electric hookups for events, installing and maintaining ballpark lights, holiday lights, traffic lights, street lights, and more. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's the value of public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
It's that time of year to come see me. Don't let COVID-19 and the flu stop you. So make sure you don't have to cancel on those you love the most.
By getting your flu and COVID vaccines. They're safe and effective.
Both flu and COVID vaccines have been updated to fight against new virus strains.
So make sure you don't miss that family gathering and protect those around you. Ask your healthcare provider about updated flu and COVID-19 shots.
Get protected this season with updated COVID-19 and flu shots. Visit myspot.nc.gov and find yours today.
Have you ever noticed how little things can make a big difference? Next time you see a man or woman in uniform, why not stop and thank them for their service to our country? And what about the nurse at the hospital or the cafeteria worker serving your plate? A smile and a word of thanks goes a long way. In North Carolina, we have always taken pride in being kind to everybody. Little things do make a difference. Makes you feel better. Makes everyone around you feel better.
This is Adam Gold.
When the U.S. Space Force plays Air Force in the Military Bowl, then I will recognize the
It'll be out of this world.
The anthem.
Sorry, I had to.
The Adam Gold Show.
The Adam Gold Show here on a Monday. I just want to update on one of the, by the way, Tim Donnelly, not Adam Gold, hosting today. Adam out of the studio. Should be back, I believe, tomorrow.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, he will be. Him and I were already texting last night about the Mets. So, Mets fans, which I know you're a Mets fan.
You're darn right.
Don't worry. Plenty of that tomorrow.
Not my money. Juan Soto. It's not my money, so take it all.
I know, all of it.
Steve Cohen's. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Quickly, though, I do want to update you on something that we were talking about earlier. Bill Belichick was on at the Pat McAfee show. I believe he just got off. And the last words on the UNC job and the opening and will it happen, he said, we'll see. We'll see. Said it twice. Those were the last 4 words.
A double we'll see.
We'll see.
Uh-oh.
But he did talk a little bit about how college is turning more into pro, so it kind of maybe fits his skill set more with the GMs and the cap salary money. That's whatever. So it's one might say you could leave his conversation with Pat McAfee with the vibe that it's more likely to happen than previous two. So just want to update you on that. Now let's jump into the 7th inning stretch.
Okay, so we are approaching Christmas.
You're darn right.
Obviously. I love Christmas, so there's plenty of Christmas stories. First of all, are you a Christmas Story fan, the movie?
I
With Ralphie. You'll shoot your eye out.
I was going to say, we're not. I'm the substitute here. You're putting me on. I'm not a fan. I think it's a little bit Stockholm Syndrome. I think we've all seen it so many times that people think they like it. But no, I don't think it's a particularly good movie.
No, that's totally fine. That's okay. But there is a man in Florida, because this just fits, in Florida, who loves this movie. In Neptune Beach, Florida, a man decided to have a competition with his neighbors to see who could come up with the best Christmas decoration. Now, it does say in this article that they don't really know if this was a mutual agreement between neighbors to do said contest, but he decided to do it anyway. And because he's a huge fan of A Christmas Story, if you've ever seen the movie, you probably know the leg lamp.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's Fragile, that one.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, this guy made a giant leg lamp. This one, and when I say giant, it stands 20 feet tall. What? In his yard. It is what he says 420% bigger. I don't know if this is accurate math. I get it. But it's 20 feet tall. He used golf netting for the fishnet stocking around the leg.
I'm with it. I got you. I appreciate the effort. I like the festivity.
Absolutely. He's innovative, I guess. He also has a statue of Ralphie in his pink bunny suit hugging the lamp, of course, and it does light up.
By the way, I love decorations.
Yes.
Go for it. I love a homemade Halloween costume. Yeah. I'm with it. I do have one question though.
Yes.
When did it become the trend to just have massively oversized things? Have you seen the giant skeletons?
Yes. The huge ones.
It's like a skeleton is cool at regular human size. Why does it have to be looking me eye to eye in my second floor window?
I want to know where you put it after Halloween's done. I mean, some people might just leave it in there all year. Yeah. It's like, where is this thing going? So, yeah, I don't know where he's putting this either, but he does light it up at night. I'm sure his neighbors love that. It's probably lighting up the whole block.
As long as it's just for a month. If it's up in July, we got an issue. But if it's Christmas time, I'm with it.
Right? So he said, yeah, he's just a huge fan of the movie and thinks it's amazing that it's still so popular 41 years later. So he wanted to do something to have a little fun with it. So, yeah, if you're going to Florida or live in Florida and you're streaming us, then you should maybe go check that out. Sounds like a good time. I don't know. So this, however, is a good time, but could be a bad time because there's a study from Insuranceopedia. Okay, I don't know what that is.
Insuranceopedia.
And they looked at songs that could cause accidents when you're listening to them as you're driving, and apparently Frosty the Snowman might be bad.
What?
That is the worst one that they say that could cause an accident. And they actually have a list of the top 10 Christmas hits that could lead to some kind of vehicle disaster. And Frosty the Snowman, the Gene Autry one, it is 172 beats per minute, and they say around 120 beats per minute is where it can be a problem.
Because does it put you to sleep? Is that what they're saying? Or
no,
it gets you too riled up?
They're just saying that, it just ramps you up, I guess. You just get into the song and you just maybe drive faster, potentially. I don't know.
Or I'm thinking maybe if it's a song that everybody sings along to, you get distracted and you're doing your own concert in the car.
I mean, it's not the Macarena, so I don't know.
Karaoke?
Yeah.
Oh, Macarena would be one because you got to take your hands off to do the I see what you're doing there.
Exactly.
On a little teapot.
Yeah, YMCA. So Frosty the Snowman is the worst. Then they've got All I Want for Christmas Is You, Mariah Carey. How many times do we hear that one?
We got to close your eyes to hit the high note. I got
exactly.
that. That makes sense.
You have to hold your ear
you
too when you do it. Feliz Navidad is third, which I love that one. Santa Claus is Coming to Town by the Jackson 5. War is Over is also in this category. Rudolph is in here. These are all top 10. Let It Snow.
I just don't see how they make you crash.
I know.
Now I need to do research. Now I need to figure it out.
All of these songs are above 120 beats per minute, so they think that they're dangerous. So I don't know. I mean, who knows? But I'm it is that time, so I will be listening to Christmas music. And it will be our bump song soon, so be prepared for that. And last but not least, I don't think you could afford to buy this because, well, it's a lot of money. The world's most expensive Christmas tree is, only about $5 million.
Really?
So it's in Germany, and it has been unveiled. It's a 10-foot tall, kind of...
10 foot?
It is. It's 10 feet tall. It's solid gold.
Oh, okay. So it's not a tree.
No. But they're trying to make it look like a tree because it's just basically like a cone. It's a gold cone with 4 sides, but it's topped with a 24-karat gold coin inside of a star or angel, so, that makes it a tree. But yeah, it's not even for sale. It's just for publicity. But why are we doing that?
What are they going to do with it if it's not for sale? If you're not going to have someone buy it, what are you just going to melt it down and make, earrings? What is going on here?
I don't understand. I have no idea. But who knows? Maybe we could make some extra coin with our picks.
Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Yeah. Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
All right, it is time for Place Your Bets. Victoria, we go back and forth, right?
Yes.
Do you want to lead off?
Sure, I can. I'm just laughing because one of our friends on the YouTubes, QP, was like, "Oh Lord, another Florida man story." Laugh out loud. We love them here.
Do you know the reason behind Florida Man? Just this. I was born in Florida. My family lives in Florida. Yeah. Do you know the reason behind Florida Man?
What's that?
It's actually an information thing rather than they're actually crazier in Florida thing.
Mm-hmm.
In Florida, in court cases where it's like disorderly conduct or whatever,
right?
In public record, you put what the disorderly conduct was, and many other you just put disorderly conduct or disturbing the peace or whatever. So in Florida, you have to say, disorderly conduct. Man had 6 alligators in his bathroom sink.
Mm-hmm.
Wherein if a man had 6 alligators in his bathroom sink in Idaho, it would just say disorderly conduct. So
right.
the news doesn't include it.
All the details.
So Florida Man, all the Florida Man stories, it's just because the information, there's crazy people everywhere.
Oh, yeah, there are. Yeah, there are.
I just took too much of our time, so let's go quickly.
It's fine. We're good. We got plenty of time. So looking at the football field tonight, we got the Bengals taking on the Cowboys in Dallas. And you know what? I'm feeling T. Higgins to be an anytime touchdown scorer. I think there's going to be a lot of touchdowns in this game potentially. So give me T. Higgins, anytime touchdown scorer, plus 115.
We're thinking similarly. I have Andre Yoshivas,
nice.
Anytime touchdown scorer for the Bengals. I think the Cowboys are going to get run in this one. I think Joe Burrow is going to put up stats, and I tried to pick just the longer odds out of kind of the main core. I think Yoshivas gets one for plus 450.
Yes. Well, I like to do the first half totals as well. I think it's going to be over 24.5, so that's minus 10, but put it in a parlay.
I have Jamar Chase, minus 120, so you're not retiring the parents, but you can still make some money.
Mm-hmm.
Over 80 yards receiving tonight. If you look at his career in prime time, he averages about 100 yards per game. He's basically, if you took just his primetime averages, the best wide receiver in NFL history.
Yeah.
So over 80 for Jamar Chase.
Ooh, nice. And my last but not least, I'm just going to take the Bengals in this one, even though they're at home. Dallas hasn't won many. I think they've only won one this season at home. So give me the Bengals to win this one. I got to go with the over 49.5. That's plus 160.
I'm similarly thinking that the Bengals win, but I think it's partially because Cooper Rush is playing for Dallas.
Yes.
Cooper Rush, over 0.5 interceptions is minus 135.
Ooh, yeah.
So, then at least if everybody's mad for an interception being thrown, I get a little bit of money. So those are my 3.
There you go. I like it.
We're very similar. I think our motivations behind them we're on the same page.
Absolutely.
We're on the same page. The Adam Gold Show will continue up next with the Wall of Sound. We hear from completely unbiased former Alabama head coach on the college football playoff, excluding Alabama. I hope you catch the sarcasm in my voice. Wall of Sound coming up next. Do not go anywhere.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. It is Monday Night Football. That's how Frank Gifford used to say it. Monday Night Football. And FanDuel wants you to win even bigger. So right now, all customers can get a 30% catch-a-pass profit boost on the Bengals-Cowboys Monday night game. That means you can boost your next NFL catch-a-pass bet by 30% and take home even more winnings during this game. You can bet on over-under spreads, props, totals, so much more. Plus, if you win, you get paid right away. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. It is the #1 sports book, and you can take advantage of a profit boost today. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Max wager amount applies. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms for both offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Fruitcake! You shouldn't have. Wow, a candle.
Spread joy, not junk, with the Autobell Car Wash Holiday Sale. Visit Autobell to buy 1 Super Poly Process Wash and get one 40% off.
It's bow time. 'Tis the season for food and family, but thanks to Bojangles, you don't have to spend hours in the kitchen when loved ones come home for the holidays. Set down the spatula and put away the mixing bowls, because this holiday season, Bojangles is ready to help you celebrate with all your family favorites like Chicken Supreme, Cajun Filet Biscuits, or a big bow box of hand-breaded chicken, scratch-made biscuits, and fixins for the whole family. We'll make the food so you can focus on making memories. Head to Bojangles and gift yourself a taste of home. It's bow time.
If it's ho-ho-ho time, it's Bo-Bo-Bo time. Time to order a party-sized platter of that bodacious Bojangles flavor before your next holiday celebration. Choose a Bojangles Supremes platter and get 50 whole breast tenderloin fillets. Or go with a Bojangles dessert platter and get 2 dozen Bo-Berry biscuits, 2 dozen cinnamon twists, or 1 dozen of each. It's a platter full of Bo-liciousness. And don't forget to pick up Bojangles gift cards. Just the right gift for anyone on your list. Hurry, it's Bo time.
A new game has landed in North Carolina. Officials are calling this new species of game Cash Pop. So easy to play, it's out of this world. Reports confirm you just pick and match one number to win up to $2,500. With 5 drawings every day, cash landings have been sighted across the state. So be on the lookout for Cash Pop from the North Carolina Education Lottery. The wins are out there. Must be 18 to play. See Cash Pop prize and odds chart at nclottery.com for details. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
During the Ram Wrap-Up the Year sales event, take advantage of huge deals on a wide selection of built-to-serve Ram trucks. And right now, finance and get $8,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Go to ram.com and hurry to your local Ram dealer for $8,500 total cash allowance on the 2025 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab. Hurry to the Ram Wrap-Up the Year sales event today. Financing for well-qualified buyers through Stellantis Financial. Not all customers will qualify. Residency restrictions apply. Take delivery by 1/2/25.
So my home is also my office. And before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up, then spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score!
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
This is from 56 yards away. For a chance for the ACC championship, the kick is up, it is on its way, and it is good! 56-yard field goal. Clemson got a second chance at the college football playoff, and they have earned their way in. The ACC champions. What a scene here in Charlotte. Clemson has knocked off number 8 SMU, 34-31.
The Adam Gold Show continuing here on a Monday. I'm Tim Donnelly sitting in for Adam today. He should be back tomorrow. But we do have audio of Bill Belichick on the Pat McAfee show just moments ago discussing his potential agreement or partnership. Potential, big emphasis on potential, if, maybe, could be, possibly, connection with the UNC football team. But before we get to that, you just heard the highlights of Clemson beating SMU in the ACC championship game, which was quintessential. The fact that it went to overtime, the fact that Clemson won, the fact that SMU was strong enough to contend, quintessential in the ACC getting two teams in the college football playoff. SMU gets the final spot, which means Alabama does not make it as a 3-loss blue blood. Nick Saban, now part of the media, former Alabama coach, obviously. Here's his reaction to the final spot going to SMU.
Well, I think one of the things that I've mentioned, throughout this football season is if we don't take strength of schedule into consideration, is there any benefit to scheduling really good teams in the future? Like, here at Alabama, we're supposed to play Notre Dame, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Florida State in the future outside the league. Well, those are great games for fans to see, and that's what I think we should be doing. In college football is creating more good inventory for great games that people are interested in. But do you enhance people wanting to do that, where what's the athletic director going to do? He may go cancel all those games now, knowing that the SEC is tough enough. But at the same time, I do think the best teams are in the playoff, which I think is most important. And no coach should have any complaint about what his circumstance is relative to getting in the playoffs or out of the playoffs, because they all controlled their own destiny and they all had opportunities, and they had some flaws and bad losses that contributed to their circumstance. So this could be a learning lesson for each and every team and every individual on those teams.
I have so many problems with that. Namely, he said that this is going to motivate teams not to schedule tough non-conference games. Alabama didn't. I'd actually make the argument that if Alabama did, they'd have a better chance at making the college football playoff. Here's their non-conference schedule this year. Western Kentucky, South Florida, a bad Wisconsin team, and Mercer. You don't think if maybe one of those was a big non-conference win over a big, bad top 25 team that they wouldn't have had a better chance of making the college football playoff? I'm tired of people blaming others. The reason Alabama didn't make it is because Alabama didn't play well enough. It's not because of the schedule. It's not because of no, you lost to teams you shouldn't have lost to. You lost to Vanderbilt. You lost to Oklahoma in embarrassing fashion, and Oklahoma isn't that good. If those losses didn't happen, you would have made it. Same is true for anyone else that didn't make it. Let's go back to the rest of the wall of sound here. I'm tired of that. I'm tired. And also, we shouldn't expect Nick Saban to be unbiased in that situation. I played football at the University of Delaware. If you ask me a question about Delaware, guess what? I'm going to say whatever is good for Delaware.
Sure.
So Nick Saban, I mean, they're going to, he's probably still got a office, a building named after him. He is Alabama. You ask him, he's going to be, it's not their fault they didn't make it. It's 100% their fault they didn't make it. Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, they used to be colleagues back on the Brown staff in 94, maybe even earlier than that. But he might be on the staff at UNC, Bill Belichick. I wonder if he brings Saban maybe as a defensive coordinator.
Maybe.
Huh? He's got
Wouldn't put anything past
He's got
it.
famous friends.
Yeah.
Belichick was on the Pat McAfee show, and he talked about what his college program would look like if he were to take a job like the UNC job. Here's Belichick.
The college program would be a pipeline to the NFL for the players that had the ability to play in the NFL. It would be a professional program, training, nutrition, scheme, coaching, techniques that would transfer to the NFL. It would be an NFL program at a college level and an education that would get the players ready for their career after football, whether that was the end of their college career or at the end of their pro career. But it would be, geared toward, developing the player, time management, discipline, structure, and all that. That would be life skills, regardless of whether they're in the NFL or in somewhere in business. And I feel very confident that I have the contacts in the National Football League to pave the way for those players that would have the ability to have the opportunity to compete in the National Football League. Whether they're good enough or not, I don't know, but they would be ready for it. I don't have any doubt about that.
Now, I understand that Bill Belichick, in that entire conversation, made sure to throw the proper ifs and the proper maybes. Like he did not commit to anything. If I were to do that, if I were to coach in college, perhaps this, if this, right? It's like the person talking about a crime and they just keep saying allegedly, and they keep saying the accusations are, to make sure, like, you don't perjure yourself or commit any faux pas. So he didn't commit to anything. But the reason why my opinion of Bill Belichick potentially going to UNC is growing, and the likelihood is growing, didn't that sound like a recruiting pitch?
Definitely did.
Didn't it sound like
It had that twang to it.
Hey, every transfer out there, the portal opens today. Every high schooler out there, if you want to play in the NFL, come play for me.
I know some people.
I have all the contacts. Yeah. You hear maybe McAfee laughed in the background. It's like, yeah, I think you do.
Yeah.
You got 6 Super Bowls. It sounded like exactly what he would say if he had to get it. He was up against Ohio State for a recruit, and Ohio State was offering $600,000, and he had $200,000. He'd be saying, "Listen, here's what I can do for you. Here's what I'll prepare you for. Here's why you'll be a better pro if you come here." It sounded like a recruiting pitch. Also, the reports are that on Sunday, Belichick and UNC talked for 5 hours.
Wow, 5 hours. That's a long time.
Now, it could be they asked him one question about, like, 1975 lacrosse, and then he took him on a walk for 3 hours and 45 minutes. Then they talked football for an hour, and we're done.
Right.
But 5 hours, I mean, again, that's
It's a
real.
commitment.
I want to know who's interviewing who. Like, who isn't there yet?
Mm-hmm.
Is UNC going, you got to convince us? Or is Belichick saying, you need to make it perfect for me?
Yeah, that would be interesting to know.
It would be. Here's interesting and a bummer. This is not a piece of sound here, but it is sound that is being played at the moment. Dave Canales, the head coach of the Panthers, is speaking to the media as we're recording this, as we're live on air. Dennis Cox here at the station just jumped into the station or into the studio. Jonathan Brooks, ACL tear.
Yikes.
Same one he injured last year at Texas.
Of course. Yeah. I think that's what everyone was worried about when we saw that.
It had all of the look of it, and you're just...
Yeah, you know it's not good.
You're hoping that it's like scar tissue was just getting torn up a little bit because he had been hurt before. I'm going to do my best here to get ahead of the second guessers. I don't necessarily believe this is 100% rushing him back, or he wasn't ready, or if you waited a year, it would have never happened. I think sometimes you just have to chalk things up to bad luck, and you have to say, we did everything we could, we trusted the medical people, and this happened anyway. But Jonathan Brooks, the second round pick for the Panthers, played 2 games of limited snaps, then got 3 plays in this weekend's game before going down non-contact. Everyone feared an ACL injury. And again, being passed along to me just moments ago from the Dave Canales press conference, it is an ACL.
Not good.
Which, thank goodness he signed Chuba Hubbard to the extension, I guess.
I know.
I was actually very against the Chuba Hubbard extension.
Oh, were you? Yeah.
Because I was like, you just drafted Jonathan Brooks. You can't spend high picks and money at running back. You can't. Now it's like, oh, goodness. Thank goodness you still have your guy locked down. Although he could have done that this offseason for Chuba. I don't think he's getting more money than that elsewhere. But Jonathan Brooks looks like it'll be a long ride back. And now you have to worry about his mental. Like, do you trust the knee?
Exactly.
Because it's not the same, but I tore my hamstring in high school. And then on the rehab back, you get confident you're out there. Then I popped my hammy again, didn't tear it, but I popped it again. I don't know if I was ever the same mentally after that. Every time I sprinted, you're just wondering, is it going to go? And coming back from it once is one thing. Coming back from it twice is a completely different beast.
Not good.
So there you go. That's a little wall of sound for you here on the Adam Gold Show. I know we didn't do the intro, but it's what it was. And some updated news from the Panthers. Now, it's the Adam Gold Show. I am Tim Donnelly sitting in for Adam, but the thing Adam and I have in common, we're both Mets fans, which means Juan Soto is going to be the holder of our hopes and dreams for the next 15 years. Juan Soto rewrote the record books, and we're going to discuss it coming up next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Football is on the menu tonight.
Showtime, prime time.
And we're dishing up a clash of conferences.
Hot dog, man.
It's Cincinnati and Dallas.
Dominate on 3, 1, 2, 3, dominate.
Pregame starts at 7:30. Kickoff at 8:15.
Put up or shut up time.
The NFL on 99.9 The Fan is brought to you by Wake Med.
Here we go.
99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Monday night, you gotta feel it.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. You know, he's a big Detroit sports fan. He's having a good time. Take advantage of Gordon while he's having a good time and get a free mortgage. That's right, because his teams are doing so well, he is giving away free mortgages. Okay, he's always done this. He invented the no closing cost mortgage back in 1987. That will save you thousands. Closing costs are a lot of money. Anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000 depending on the size of your home loan. And then when you refinance, you can lower your monthly payment and save hundreds. He's handing you money. Miller Lending. Take advantage of this program and the system and the fact that rates will fall next year. They always do after an election cycle. Miller Lending on Kildare Farm Road in Cary since 1996, by the way. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS ID 2502146. Don't ever pay closing costs.
What's that sound? That's the sound of Downy Unstoppable scent beads going into your washing machine and giving your clothes freshness that lasts all day long. There it is again. It's like music to your ears, or more like music to your nose. That freshness is irresistible. Let's get a Downy Unstoppables bottle shake. And now a sniff solo. Nice. With Downy Unstoppables, you just toss, wash, wow, for all-day freshness.
Hi, I'm Marcy Bailey from Bailey's Fine Jewelry. This holiday season, why not give a gift that truly shines? At Bailey's, we believe in making every moment special, and our carefully curated selection of fine jewelry is sure to bring joy to your loved ones. From stunning diamonds to designer jewelry and luxury watches, we have the perfect gift for everyone on your list. Gift the magic of a Bailey box and make this Christmas unforgettable. Visit us today in Raleigh, Cary, Rocky Mount, and Greenville. Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Every woman wants a Bailey box under the tree.
Hey girl, haven't seen you downtown lately.
Nope, sticking to our go-to places.
You mean like Sharky's?
Well, we love our Sharkies. Best wings and gumbo on the planet. But we never miss the $5 sangrias on Wednesdays at the new Salt and Lime and Mexican pints on Thursdays for $3.
You know, my boy loves the House of Hops. No better selection of craft beer in the state. Loves their specials, their food trucks, and you know I love my wine. They have a wonderful selection.
And have I told you about our new takeout spot, Che Empanadas? It's right next to Sharky's. They have 20 different types of authentic Argentinian empanadas, and they are incredible, especially the breakfast ones. You gotta try it.
Sounds perfect. And how awesome is it that they're so close to each other?
Yes.
Give them a try. Che Empanadas, House of Hops, Salt and Lime, and Sharky's. Just a hop, skip, and a jump from each other off Durham Road, Glenwood, and Grove Barton.
Hi, this is Mike Maniscalco. Do you want to increase the value of your home and decrease the cost of energy bills? If your home needs new windows, siding, doors, and more, look no further than your locally owned Window World, the Triangle's most trusted and America's largest exterior remodeler. A proud sponsor of the Canes, Window World will get your home looking great on the outside while saving on energy costs inside. Search Window World for a free quote today.
This is Adam Gold.
Home runs are homers, not dingers, not jacks, not bombs. Can I use tater?
No. Can we say go in yard?
Oh, yes.
Right?
If we can't exaggerate, if we can't use colorful, flowery metaphors and descriptions, why are we here?
The Adam Gold Show.
The Adam Gold Show continuing here on a Monday. Tim Donnelly filling in for Adam. I do want to talk about Juan Soto's earth-shattering, something bigger than record-breaking contract with the Mets. But first, because our behind-the-scenes team is such a crack squad here, the audio that we did mention before the break involving Dave Canales, head coach of the Panthers, breaking the news that Jonathan Brooks, their second-round pick rookie running back, has re-torn the ACL that he injured last year while at Texas. That audio we have. We moved that quickly, so I wanted to play it for you. Here's Dave Canales.
Jonathan Brooks re-injured his right ACL. He'll be out for the season. He's going to have surgery to repair that at some point. We're working on all that, but my heart is with him. I mean, just the amount of hard work that he put in to get back to this place, to get him to play. So he's heartbroken. I'm heartbroken. The whole group just feeling for him, and so we'll be here every step of the way with him, supporting him through this journey. He knows how to do this. He'll be able to attack it, and his focus is just going to shift in terms of what he's competing for. So just again, it's definitely hard on JB right now, and so all of our thoughts are with him.
Brutal. Just brutal.
Extremely. And so frustrating as a Panther fan, because I've been a Carolina Panthers fan for since their existence. Not my whole life. I'm older than the Panthers, but
I wouldn't have guessed it.
Well, thank you. I'm a fan of theirs, and it's just so heartbreaking. I mean, I'm in a group chat with some friends who are also Panther fans, and when we saw that happening, we're like, that's it. Like, you could just tell. That's it.
The hard part is, first of all, injuries are the worst parts of sports, and re-injuries are the worst kind of injuries in sports because, ACL rehab is not easy. It stinks, and to go through all of that and think you're at the light at the end of the tunnel and to go right back into it, it's got to play with your mind. So you feel for Jonathan Brooks, but from the Panthers fan perspective, it's so hard to drag yourself out of the dungeon in the NFL, right? To be one of the worst teams in the league and to move forward. And one of the ways you have to get it right is in the draft. And you have to find value in the margins, and you have to find diamonds in the rough. And one of the ways they were doing that was it looked like they hit on the running backs. Obviously, the Chuba Hubbard discovery is awesome. He's a 1,000-yard rusher, and he was, late round pick that worked his way up. The goal, if you're a Panther fan, was to have Chuba Hubbard be David Montgomery of the Lions and to have Jonathan Brooks be Jahmyr Gibbs of the Lions, right? That 1-2 punch of running backs. And it looked like, by the way, the Lions had to go sign David Montgomery for big money in free agency and then had to use the 10th or 12th overall pick on Jahmyr Gibbs to have that combo. It looked like you were going to have some version of that for a 5th-round pick and then an extension and a 2nd-round pick. You were going to have the cheaper version of it, and now you just have one workhorse. You don't have the next guy. Who knows what this does to Jonathan Brooks' career? 1 ACL is one thing. 2 in the same leg, 2 years back-to-back is a complete other deal. So it's tough for everybody. I've been singing the praises of Dan Morgan, the GM for the Panthers, for how he's drafted. Xavier Legette has flashed a few times, but Jonathan Brooks, he looked explosive last week. Then you throw in, I'm a big fan of Trayvon Wallace. You throw in Shaw Smith-Wade, the corner in the 5th round. I'm a big fan of Jatavian Sanders in the 4th round. I'm like, he kind of did his thing this draft. Traded, Michael Barrett, the 7th rounder, for Mike Jackson, the corner, who's playing really well. He kind of did his thing. And now, Legette with some big drops recently, and it's going, all right, maybe I'm going to tamp my expectations a little bit. And then Jonathan Brooks gets hurt, and it's like, all right, this one's tough. And it's like maybe, despite, I think, getting a lot of the picks right, it might not look like it if you go 2 years into the future. Brutal. Let's talk Juan Soto. There's no easy transition from Jonathan Brooks just had the most brutal thing that can happen to a professional athlete.
Right.
Now let's look over here where Juan Soto just had the biggest contract, biggest money, biggest everything in the history of professional sports. There's literally no way to so we're just going to plow through. Juan Soto, outfielder, the New York Mets are in agreement on a 15-year, $765 million contract, sources told ESPN last night. It is the largest deal in professional sports history. It has some escalators. If so, actually, I'll just keep reading here. This is all from Jeff Passan. The deal includes an opt-out after 5 years and no deferred money, sources said. If Soto chooses not to opt out, his deal will go up $4 million per year from $51 million to $55 million for the remainder of the contract, meaning the total value could exceed $800 million.
Wow.
4/5 of $1 billion.
What?
And do you know what else Juan Soto could do? Commercials.
Yeah.
You know what else Juan Soto could do? He could endorse different things. He could get appearance fees. He could sign cards and get people to pay a bunch of money for him. It is not outlandish to think his just earned income. We're not talking about investments. We're not talking about just earned income will be over $1 billion.
I wouldn't even know what to do with all of that money.
Now
I would love to have that problem, but
for Juan Soto, obviously life-changing, everything changing, family's life-changing. His kids are going to have their college tuition paid for if they want it. For the Mets, he just moved into a new neighborhood.
I know, but it's not very far. That's the thing. He didn't have to move very far.
That's true, too, because he obviously going from the Yankees to the Mets. Evan Cohen on Unsportsmanlike, the morning show host right here on this network. He hopes the Mets signed Soto for the right reasons. Let's hear that comment from Evan Cohen.
I just hope they did this for the right reasons in building a baseball team with this phenomenal player who took the highest bid, obviously. It's not like the Yankees weren't in this, right? I mean, the Yankees, according to Buster Olney, offered 16 years, $760 million. Think about saying no to that in life. 16 years, $760 million. Nah, I'm good. And he was right to do it. I just really hope that this was done for the right reasons because Steve Cohen is a gazillionaire and he wants to let everybody know that. I hope they're going to build a baseball team.
Here's what just happened. The Mets are the new Yankees. I'm a Mets fan. And by the way, I spent part of my childhood in New Jersey, where at recess, we used to say, all right, we're playing basketball today, Mets fans versus Yankee fans. We were that because, it was New Jersey. And I was always Mets fan. So I grew up hating the Yankees. Hate him. My brother was a Yankees fan. That kind of rivalry. The Mets are the new Yankees, and I'm just going to see how it feels, right? I'll say this. When I was a kid, that's when the Yankees were a little dynasty, and it looked fun to be a Yankees. I hated them, but it looked fun to be a Yankees fan. Steve Cohen's the new Steinbrenner.
Yes.
All of that, I hope he does it for the right reasons. I hope he didn't do it for the right reasons. I hope Steve Cohen wasn't sitting there crunching analytics and saying, oh, Juan Soto will do this for our lineup. I hope he was sitting there saying, how much did the Yankees offer? I'm going to beat that. I hope he's just wildly competitive. George Steinbrenner won a whole bunch of World Series. I don't think he spent a single dollar for the right reasons. He was out there just, I want to win, I want to bury people, and I don't care what I have to do it. And like I said, it looked fun.
Yeah, well, that's the goal.
It looked fun. So I'm just going to see what happens. I'm just going to see what happens.
As a Cubs fan, I can appreciate that.
You got yours. Don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, we did, but it's been a minute. It's
been less than a decade. No, you don't get to do that. You can complain about the Panthers. You can't complain about the Cubs.
I can complain about the Panthers all day.
The Cubs just got over 100-year drought yesterday. You're already complaining?
100 years.
You're already complaining?
No. Oh, I'm not complaining. I just want it again.
You should have got a richer owner,
yeah.
a more rich owner. The other part is Steve Cohen, the no deferred money and all that kind of crazy stuff. That's just a guy with money and he doesn't care. What's $760 million to a multi billionaire, right? It's his life doesn't change. Everyone gets crazy about Juan Soto turned down $765. Think of how crazy that is from the Yankees. And I'm going, imagine the guy who just agreed to pay somebody $765 million, maybe over $800 million over the next 15 years, and his life doesn't change. That's Steve Cohen, the owner of the Mets. Right? All of us, when we make big expenditures, we have to think of how our life changed. Right? If I buy a bigger house, if I get a bigger car, then, okay, what do I have to give up? We can't go out to eat as much. What do I have to give up? All right, maybe we don't go on vacation. What do I have to give up? He just spent $800 million on a baseball player, and his life doesn't change. That's the part that's crazy. Absolutely wild. The Adam Gold Show continuing. Coming up next, bowl assignments came out. Where did some of the teams from North Carolina end up? And we may have seen the best performance by an NFL player in a loss in NFL history. Stick around.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
Trust ACT Construction Equipment and Bandit Wood Chippers and Stump Grinders to position your tree service for success. ACT Construction Equipment is your authorized dealer for sales, service, parts, and rentals for Bandit Wood Chippers and Stump Grinders. ACT Construction Equipment has been your authorized dealer for Bandit equipment for over 10 years. Visit one of our 6 North and South Carolina locations or actce.com for more details on Bandit Wood Chippers and Stump Grinders. ACT Construction Equipment, always the right equipment for the job.
Open enrollment for health insurance is here. But don't worry, North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance has you covered for all your health insurance needs, including Medicare. And with offices in every county, a trusted, experienced agent is just around the corner, ready to help find a plan that's right for you. Visit ncfbins.com or stop by your local office today. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
Healthcare.gov has plans for health because you have plans for life. All plans cover doctor visits and emergency care to keep you and your family running strong. All plans cover hospital stays and prescriptions so you can have peace of mind. Visit healthcare.gov to explore health plans from the brands you know. 4 out of 5 customers can find a health plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Enroll at healthcare.gov by December 15th for coverage starting January 1st. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
As public power customers, we experience fewer outages and faster restoration than customers of other electric providers. But the benefits of having a locally owned electric system go far beyond unbeaten reliability. Our local public power employees support our community, providing electric hookups for events, installing and maintaining ballpark lights, holiday lights, traffic lights, street lights, and more. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's the value of public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
It's that time of year when we pack our bags for exciting adventures with friends and family. So make sure you don't have to cancel on those you love the most by getting your flu and COVID vaccines. They're safe and effective. Both flu and COVID vaccines have been updated. So make sure you don't miss that flight and protect those around you. Ask your healthcare provider for your updated flu and COVID-19 shots. Don't wait. Get your updated shots today.
Get protected this season with updated COVID-19 and flu shots. Visit myspot.nc.gov and find yours today.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips that you plan in advance, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends for which you make a group chat 3 months before so that nobody or anything is missing? Or your daughter's first birthday party. You planned it with such dedication that instead of the first, it felt like our 15s. The same way you plan each detail for those moments. Start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This This is Adam Gold.
Yeah, but he's real patient, like he
Right.
said in his interview
Well,
today.
In all other aspects of life.
Yes.
If he's in line at the drive-thru and it's taking a long time,
right.
he will not ram the car in front of him.
Exactly. Someone's pressing his shirt. He will wait 30 seconds for it to be crisper.
The Adam Gold Show.
The Adam Gold Show continuing. Victoria Vodenecker producing the show. Tim Donnelly filling in for Adam. We have another 25 minutes, 30 minutes of showtime here, and we're going to do our best to wrap a whole bunch of stuff into it. Bowl assignments came out. UNC taking on UConn in the Wasabi Fenway Bowl. Iowa State versus Miami in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. I just included that one because Miami going from maybe playing for a national championship to perhaps playing for an edible mascot is hilarious.
It's very funny.
ECU NC State in the Go Bowling Military Bowl. Duke versus Ole Miss in the Tax Slayer Bowl, some of the highlights. By the way, we'll open up the phone lines here, 919-860-5326. If there's something you want to talk about here. I'm not doing the Adam Gold Show for the foreseeable future. I'm not on the schedule again. So, hey, this is like, the last period of the day with the substitute teacher.
Right.
I could throw a movie on, or you can talk about whatever you want. So 919-860-5326. If there's something you want to get off your chest involving something in the sports world, call right in, 919-860-5326. I do have one, before we dive into the actual intricate bowls here, I have one request for bowl season. Can we get sponsors that make sense with the bowl games? Wasabi Fenway Bowl? Why the Fenway Bowl got to be like a chowder company if we're doing something, right? The Fenway Bowl, could it be, I don't know, Wasabi Fenway Bowl? Go Bowling Military Bowl? Do military members go bowling a lot? Tax Slayer Gator Bowl? It just seems like there's some synergy. I used to love when it was the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, right? Give me something that links like that, right? UNC versus UConn. I don't know if we'll see many UNC players in that one, and what I mean by that is I think there'll be some opt-outs, the Omarion Hamptons of the world. It's going to be tough to convince a team with a new coach coming in with a new kind of everything to go ahead and lay it on the line in the Wasabi Fenway Bowl, which is not always the easiest thing to do. So I think we'll see quite a few opt-outs. Was that someone on the call-in line, or should we keep it rolling?
No, but we do have the question from earlier today on our YouTube stream.
We did tease that, so let's go ahead and hit that.
I know, right? So this question...
Anyone else with questions? Sorry, not to cut you off.
No, you're good.
919-860-5326. You can call in now, or as Victoria just mentioned, 99.9 The Fan on YouTube is where our live stream lives. You can send in a question there.
Yes. So Joey Powell, he has a question. Is there a wide receiver in the draft that could be a number one?
Is that yes
for the Panthers?
I mean, see, this is where you got to be careful how you phrase questions. Is there a wide receiver in the draft that could be a number one? The answer to that is yes. The further question is, which one is it? Tetiroa McMillan from Arizona might be that guy. Luther Burden might be that guy. From Missouri, obviously Travis Hunter, if he decides to kind of focus on offense, he could be that guy. You can go on and on down the draft boards. It's a matter of picking the right one. Tetiroa McMillan is a giant. He is smooth as all get out as an athlete. Travis Hunter is maybe the most naturally athletic player in the entire draft, maybe in the last couple. Is a little skinny, has some other things that he might need to work on. But there is a number one wide receiver if the Panthers want to draft one high. It's the hard part is getting it right. Right? It's the same thing with quarterbacks every year. Maybe not this year. Occasionally there's a down year. But usually there's 4, 5, 6 quarterbacks that are going to get drafted in the first round. 1 or 2 of them are going to be franchise guys. 1 or 2 of them are going to be complete busts. It's up to you as an evaluator to figure out which one it's going to be. So, yes, there is most definitely a number one wide receiver in the draft if the Panthers want to go that route. It's just, you know, None of them are 100%. Some of them are busts. The Adam Gold Show, again, we open up the phone line, so feel free. 919-860-5326. Talking a little bowl games as well. ECU against NC State. That'll be fun. A lot of cross rivalries happening there. Players that know each other and everything else. Dean from Rocky Mount wants to talk about the bowl games on the call-in line, which is open, 919-860-5326. Dean, go ahead and sound off on the bowl games.
So I think that this might be the best year for bowl game matchups I can think of, because you've got UNC, UConn, two basketball schools playing in Boston, and then you have in New York, you've got two teams that wear red, and one of them is a Boston team. I also just think it is so awesome that you have a rivalry game in a bowl game in a state where one of the teams has a rival in that state, with NC State having a rivalry with Maryland. That isn't really played much anymore because it's no longer in conference. Yep. But I think it's just so cool how all this lines up this year. And then you've got your usual suspects, like your Pop-Tarts Bowl, which is always super cool to have a live edible mascot. So I just think it is so cool how the bowl games lined up this year to be really good matchups. Like there's the bowl in Texas where it's two Texas teams. You have Arkansas and Texas Tech having a little bit of a rivalry renewal in their bowl game. And so I think it's just really cool how you had all these bowl games just perfectly line up. And I also think it's crazy how you've got situations where you've got, like, interim coaches in bowl games, and you've got a team that's got an interim DC because their DC took a job at another school that's in a bowl game. They'll be playing a top 25 team.
Hey Dean, I gotta cut you off here. We can't run through every bowl game, but I appreciate it, and I get what you're saying. So call back in anytime. I'll build off of what Dean's saying quickly here. I do think the bowls that aren't college football playoff bowls are gonna have to work harder to make their games entertaining. The stakes are going to appear so much lower than these other bowls that are first or second round college football playoff bowls. So, getting teams with regional rivalries, getting teams that have a history, finding out which other storylines you can use to make your game more exciting is going to be more valuable. I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing bowl games maybe go away from conference affiliations and all of that, and they just try to get the best teams possible for entertainment to their bowl games because, quite frankly, it's sink or swim, right? If nobody watches, no one's going to care who the sponsors are and everything else. Back to the call-in line, which is open, 919-860-5326. Like to open them up on a Monday and hear what all of you are thinking. Josh from Wake Forest wants to talk UNC basketball. Again, the number is 919-860-5326 if you want to join the show. Josh, take it away. What's your Tar Heel take?
Hey, so I was just wondering if this is the year that UNC is finally making the big move about.
Oh, no. That's such a bad time to break up. Josh, are you there? Can you hear me?
4 years.
Okay, Josh, you broke up there.
Yes.
You said, I want to just let you know where to pick up. You said, is this the year UNC finally makes the big move?
Makes the big move in hiring both a new basketball and a new football coach.
Oh, so I can tell you they're hiring a new football coach.
Right. Oh, yeah, definitely. But 4 years Hubert Davis has been a coach. Granted, the first year he went to the national championship, but that was all Roy's recruits. Second year, they crashed and burned in historic fashion. Third year, they did make got a 1 seed. And then now this year is kind of looking like they're crashing and burning again, though it is still relatively early. But the lineups are a mess. I think Powell and Jackson should be playing a lot more than they are. He didn't recruit a big man at all, getting out-rebounded, which is totally not UNC-like. So I'm just wondering what your thoughts are. If they were to go in that direction, what other coach could they get? Because it's not only, firing the coach, but also hiring a new coach. So what other coaches are out there to even be looked at?
I appreciate the call. I'll answer it because there's a bunch of different things you touched on. One, I don't think it's necessarily a hot seat for Hubert Davis. He did have that Final Four run. You could say that was with Roy's recruits. Fair. But he did win a regular season ACC championship last year, right? If I'm not mistaken. They did make a run to the Sweet 16. He can recruit, right? He does bring in top 10 recruits pretty consistently. and he can get guys to stick around, which is a whole other part of recruiting. So I don't necessarily think it's the hot seat. If they do move in another direction, maybe this is me being like old school. UNC can get whoever they want to be their head. They're the University of North Carolina, right? They still are that. So maybe not anyone. I don't know if they could go hire away like the new hot whatever, like Nate Oates at Alabama or something, or I don't know. No, actually, if the money's right, I think they could get darn near anybody. Maybe that's me overhyping the local team, but if I'm a basketball coach and I'm coaching anywhere other than like Kansas or Duke or obviously there's only a few that I would go, I'm not going to take this call from UNC. So I think they could get anybody, but I also don't think they'll be looking because Hubert still has and has had some success. Appreciate the call, though, 919-860-5326. And also, just to build off of that one more time, I'm not panicking about UNC yet. I tried to describe this earlier. They're 29% of the way through their schedule. They have essentially no good wins. But also, they haven't lost a horrendous one yet. Their worst loss is to Michigan State, coached by Tom Izzo. Like, let's not get carried away. If R.J. Davis doesn't start knocking down threes, I agree with the caller that Ian Jackson and Drake Powell need to be featured more as five-star freshmen. If that comes at the detriment of usage for some veterans, so be it. They're just talented and they need to be out there. But I'm not fully panicking on UNC yet. I'm close. I know where the button is. That's the way I describe it, right? I'm not hitting the panic button, but I have checked to make sure it's working. So that's where I'm at with UNC basketball. The Adam Gold Show, phone lines will remain open for the rest of the show, 919-860-5326. If you want to jump in and talk about something from the weekend, you want to overreact, feel free. 919-860-5326. Or Victoria is also monitoring the comments in our YouTube live stream. You can watch the show, 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. Iowa State, Miami, we ran through that. Duke versus Ole Miss. Duke versus Ole Miss in the Gator Bowl. I don't hate their chances of being a 10-win team. And that is with context, right? Because the obvious saying is, Ole Miss is one of the better teams in the country, and Lane Kiffin was trying to angle for them to be in the college football playoff, and, oh, no, Duke might be overmatched talent-wise. He won't have the NFL talent. I don't know how much of Ole Miss is going to be playing in this one. When you look at teams, you almost have to look at their opt-out percentage. Jackson Dart, Trey Harris, some of the players on Ole Miss could easily decide that their NFL future is more important than winning the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. Meanwhile, Duke does feel like a team that's all in for Duke. A lot of their guys are going to be coming back. I don't know how many will be high NFL draft picks. So Duke could get their 10th win almost on a technicality, beating Ole Miss, who's nationally ranked, but beating mostly second stringers for Ole Miss, who's nationally ranked. So maybe pay attention for that. Maybe, before you place any bets on the game, double check to make sure the studs for Ole Miss are playing. We'll go back to the call-in line, which is open for all your reactions to the weekend, 919-860-5326. Adam from Holly Springs, you are up next. You want to talk a little Giants? Are we talking New York Football Giants on this one?
Yeah, New York Football Giants. We've been a long-time season ticket holder. Well, not anymore, but I saw the news the other day about Deion saying he doesn't want his son going to play for the Giants, would rather him play for Vegas. So I don't know too much about Cam Ward or Jalen Milroe. I know next year's draft class is supposed to be much better. Do you see the Giants going out and maybe, you can't really pass up on Travis Hunter and maybe going and try and get Sam Darnold maybe in free agency to bridge the gap till next year? But the Giants got to do something. What are your thoughts on that?
Appreciate it. I'll let you go and answer the question. Yes, and yes. And what I mean by that is the Giants are at a point where they cannot, ignore any option. Is Sam Darnold an option? Yes. Is Russell Wilson an option? Yes. Is Justin Fields an option? Yes. Is drafting Cam Ward an option? Yes. Is drafting Shedeur Sanders an option and telling him tough luck, you're playing for us or you're playing for no one an option? Yes. Is Carson Beck, Garrett Nussmeier, yes, they're all options. What could they do? What should they do? I'm not a huge fan of this draft class. Cam Ward is very good. He is an unusual draft prospect in that he's played 2 years at Incarnate Word, 2 years at Washington State, 1 year at Miami. He's extremely modern in that he doesn't have a repeatable throwing motion. It's different arm angles every time. If you ever really want to nerd out on quarterback evaluations, I would love to. I'm a little bit more traditional. Here's the way to describe Cam Ward. And what I mean is I don't say this as a negative. He is the most obvious I grew up watching Patrick Mahomes quarterback I've ever seen. His footwork is a suggestion. If coach says 3-step drop, he's like 3, 5, 4, backpedal a little bit, slide, do the la cucaracha. It's all the same, right? He's just drifting, pretty good off his back foot. But it's similar to when Steph Curry revolutionized basketball, and then all of a sudden you had all these point guards that obviously grew up watching Steph, and they would launch threes from everywhere, and it's well, I don't know if you can shoot like Steph. Maybe you should take a step in. Cam Ward is either going to work and be an extremely modern, extremely Patrick Mahomes-y level quarterback, or he's going to be a guy who you're Patrick Mahomes is pretty rare, and those throws he makes are bad decisions by most guys, and you keep making them. So I don't know what the Giants are going to do. I agree they have to address the quarterback spot. If they do take someone like Travis Hunter, whatever quarterback is going to be a stopgap till next year when who knows, Arch Manning or someone else might be available, but the Giants are in a tough spot. We'll put it that way. The Giants, tough spot. The Adam Gold Show, taking callers here as I, Tim Donnelly, sit in for Adam. 919-860-5326. Let's go to Will in Goldsboro. Wants to talk UNC football. Will, appreciate you for joining the show. Go ahead and sound off.
Thanks, Tim and Victoria, for taking my call. Question. If somehow Carolina gets Belichick, do you think this could be a resurgence of older coaches coming back to coach like Saban, maybe even, heck, Roy Williams, to help these young kids deal with this NIL issue, stuff like that? Because basically they're professional players now, and we need professional coaches, not college coaches anymore. We need professional coaches.
Well, Saban and Roy Williams are, they're college coaches, right? So I think maybe the trend that you're touching on might be guys with NFL experience coming down to coach in college, rather than so often we see the college guys going up to coach in the pros, because you have to know how to handle money in the locker room. It's a different beast.
Saban and Roy Williams are, those.
All right, appreciate it. We're hearing some echo there, so we're going to have to cut off the phone line there. But it is money in the locker room is different. I was talking with somebody who played ACC football the other day, and based on the way their contract or their career went, we kind of hinted at or got to the agreement that there was a point in time where he would have been the starter and his backup would have been paid more because he maybe wasn't the biggest recruit, but he was a he worked his way into being a very good starter, and there was a very highly recruited backup. And it would have cost them a lot just to have them on the team. And that is a weird dynamic. If you have a starter making $500,000 and a backup 5-star who's going to be the starter the next year, who's making $1.2 million, how the heck do you deal with that? College coaches have no clue. Everyone's scholarship's always been the same. Pro coaches are like, well, yeah, Andy Dalton isn't going to make as much as Bryce Young, and Andy Dalton might be starting at the moment, and they know how to navigate that. So guys like Belichick might end up back in the college world for a while. Speaking of, Cunningham is on the call-in line, 919-860-5326. Also wants to talk about Belichick. Cunningham, take it away.
What's going on?
What's going on?
Hey, man, so I hear that it's only one stipulation for Belichick not to come, and that's for his son to become the next head coach. I say let's do this thing, man. Let's get it going. If you ain't on the train, get off the tracks, baby. Let's go.
I actually think it helps UNC if there's a coach in waiting. Now, is it his son? He's right. 1 year as a coordinator at Washington hasn't been awesome. But if I'm hiring a 73-year-old coach, I'm putting in the contract he needs to have a coach in waiting because I want to be able to tell recruits, if this guy retires while you're here, here's who you'll be playing for, and they can have a plan that way. But I'm with you. I think get it done.
Hey, I'm telling you, because I just think that with his influence with his son now, his influence is going to come with his son. He ain't going to leave him naked out there by himself.
But great point. Great point. Appreciate it. We're nearing the end of the show, so we'll let you go. But it is a great point. There is something to be said for if he demands to have Steve Belichick as the coach in waiting, who is the defensive coordinator for the Washington Huskies right now, was on his staff with the Patriots. So Bill Belichick says, I'll be your coach, and whenever I retire, I just want a 3-year contract for my son to be the head coach starting when I retire. I think that helps with recruiting because, freshmen can commit without thinking that they're going to be left in a lurch. But the other part is you're exactly right. If I'm Bill Belichick, I'm not just going to tell my son, like, you're next, see ya, which is what sometimes happens, right? Sometimes these coaches, legends retire, and guess what they want to do? They want to be at the beach. They want to be at the lake. They want to be golfing. They don't want to be picking up the phone every 2 minutes with, hey, who should I start at quarterback? Bill Belichick will always answer Steve Belichick's call. So maybe you're getting Belichick for a couple years and then Belichick as the puppet master for a couple years and then a different Belichick taking over for the future. I think that the ceiling is too high to not seriously entertain it. Now, if Belichick has some ridiculous, like, I need $1 billion, I need things that you can't afford, then you have to seriously look at whether it's a good hire or not. But if his requirement is Steve Belichick needs to have a chance to be the head coach after I'm gone, I think that might even be a positive for UNC. I think you could work that out. I think you could work out the structure. Crazy to think, by the way.
It is. That
it's even a possibility.
I know.
And every moment it seems to get like 1% more likely, and I'm just going like, what am I missing?
I know.
That's the number one question I have for all this UNC talk with Belichick is I keep asking, what am I, like, this isn't going to happen, and it's going to be for an obvious reason, and it must be right under my nose, but I can't find it. And until you find that, it's like, all right, I guess I'm just going to let myself believe. I guess I'm just going to say it's a possibility because guess what? It is.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, it's all over the headlines, so there's a chance.
And Bill Belichick is the kind that if he were all over the headlines, he would just stamp it out, right?
Yeah, you would think.
If you ask him, he would just go,
no.
I talked to him for 5 minutes, and I'm not gonna coach.
Yeah.
I'm on to Cincinnati.
I'll be on the Manning cast.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, but he hasn't done that.
Mm-mm.
And he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that just likes attention, right? He can get attention if he wants it. He doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that's just like, I just want to be in the news. If this were, let me think of it, like Nick Sirianni, if this were, I don't know, a different head coach in the NFL, former head coach in the NFL doing this, I might think like, hey, you know what? They're just doing it because it keeps their name alive, right? It keeps their buzz going. And I just think Bill Belichick knows if he can get on the Manning cast, he can get on the McAfee show, he can get anytime he wants. He doesn't need to prove to everybody he's famous. I think he wants to prove to everybody he's a good coach, and doing it at the college level would be one of the ways to do it. I also think there's little things there, like, if he goes and wins a national championship, then it's outside of maybe Brady's connection. Also, his buddy Nick Saban was a great college coach, failed as an NFL coach. If he goes and swags out at the college level, he could look at his buddy Saban and say, you could only do one, I could do both. I think there's, weird might be the wrong word, but weird little competitive things that he might be keeping track of. But gosh, it would be crazy. Since we're headquartered in the Triangle, I that first press conference.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Have
the electricity.
Bill on, talk some
of course.
UNC football, like no big deal. Hey,
I mean,
Bill.
he'd have to, right?
Hey, Coach Belichick.
What do we call him? Billy B.
Yeah.
Hey, what up, Billy?
Right.
What's Tommy saying? Oh, you guys aren't friends anymore. This has been the Adam Gold Show. Tim Donnelly here. I appreciated everyone that called the show, everybody that listened, everybody that hung out with us. It's always fun when I get to jump on the Adam Gold Show. Thank you to Victoria. She does a ton to make it a smooth transition when we have fill-in guests and does a great job. If you are in the Triangle, stick around on 99.9 The Fan. The Drive with me coming up next. If you're out of the Triangle, check out our YouTube live stream, 99.9 The Fans YouTube live stream, and you can watch and hang out with us on The Drive coming up next. Until next time, have a wonderful day, everybody. Adam Gold back tomorrow. We'll see.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hi, this is Adam Gold, and I am a helper. I am here to help you, to make your life easier, even better. And I want you to do what I did about a dozen years ago. Travers LASIK. That's right, Dr. Lori Travers worked her magic on my